te aparezcas, por favor. Y menos ahora debes entenderlo. Que ganas llorando, pidiendo perdón. Trata de arreglar lo que no tiene arreglo. Es que conozco tu intención. Tus explicaciones no las necesito. Cuando pudiste no te interesó. Y ahora ¿qué quieres si ya sabes que alguien más está en tu sitio? Tardé mucho tiempo en sanar mis heridas. Si te hace lo mismo, tú me entenderías. Todo lo que duele, una decepción, pero los pedazos de tu corazón. Y no pasa nada, nunca voy a odiarte. Si un día te quise, es punto y aparte. Entiendo que fuiste parte del camino. Solo eres el viaje, más no eres el destino. ¿Verdad que duele escuchar esto? Ya me imagino. Oh, 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 oh. ¿Verdad que duele? Tardé mucho tiempo en sanar mis heridas. Si te hace lo mismo, tú me entenderías. Todo lo que duele, una decepción, pero los pedazos de tu corazón. Y no pasa nada, nunca voy a odiarte. Si un día te quise, es punto y aparte. Entiendo que fuiste parte del camino. Solo eres el viaje, más no eres el destino. ¿Verdad que duele escuchar esto? Ya me imagino. ¿Verdad que duele? Eh, eh, eh,
Thank you. Thank you.
And
you very
we're
much.
live.
We're live.
And we're live. As promised, man, welcome to another episode. Well, it's not even a Wednesday for sure. So don't, if you throw out your trash on Thursday, don't go out and put your trash. It is Thursday. You know, we just couldn't work out the logistical part to have him here on an official Bumpers Wacky Wednesday. But nonetheless, it's Thursday, and we're gonna do a Bumpers Wacky Wednesday on a Thursday. Jess, what do you
That's
think?
cool. I have a funny story now that you mentioned trash can. I mean, sorry. Well,
Ya ahora comenzar.
now that
Trash
you,
can.
Now that you said trash, what did you say?
Trash can.
You said trash can, right?
No, yeah, I said if you have to throw your trash out.
Yeah, so you have to throw. Speaking of throwing your trash out, yesterday, funny story, right? Is I went to go eat because it's very obvious. Lucky Joe lives with me. Es mi camarada, es mi amigo, and I see him put it in the trash, and he puts it up against the port, right, the garage port, and then we go inside. And as I'm getting there, I see my neighbor, and my neighbor's walking. I'm like, wow, I never see the neighbor walk. Like I never see her. and the dad was carrying their little baby girl, and they're walking around. And I'm like, man, I never see them exercise. I don't mean that in a bad way. I never seen them. Now, was they were looking for their trash can. Lucky Joe brought their trash can over to ours, and I'm like, what are we doing with the double trash can? True story. That happened yesterday.
Oh my God! So did you do the right thing and raise your hand and be like?
I send her a text because it was like at 10:30 at night. I said, hey, I think what you were looking for was a trash can. I go, it was over at my house. I went ahead and took it over to it's on your garage port now. And I said, sorry about that.
Hey, Jess. So did you open up the trash cans to see? Wait. Did you open them to see which one was dirtier? I know they were empty, but which?
No, I didn't, because the minute you open that, you know what it smells like. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
I can tell you which one smelled worse, but I'm not gonna do that either. I don't want to make my neighbor look bad.
Oh man.
I dije todo. No, I'm just kidding. Saludos para todos mis vecinos. I love every single one of you. Everybody that's watching. Muy contento de estar aquí. Man, I didn't know you were a Marine.
Well, I'm glad you said the word Marine.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
My son is a Marine, so a big shout out to him. He's up in
Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
Yes, he is.
I'm going to tell you, right? And this is wacky. It's a wacky Wednesday, bro. We're all over the place. Mm-hmm. So what's really cool, man, is that me and my wife went and attended one of your shows right here at Cowboys. I think it might have been around Christmas time, maybe. Mm-hmm. And your son surprised you on stage.
That's right.
And so my wife would not let us leave unless she got a picture with him, because he was in his dress blues, right?
Yeah.
And by the time we made it out back, and Mike already had changed out of his blues, he was already ready to close.
Ready to go.
I think it was Carlito introduced us. Carlito Milan, somebody.
Yeah.
They introduced us to him, and so we started talking, and we clicked, dude, right away, because he's the same job that I did in the Marine Corps. So we exchanged numbers, and
I remember speaking to you outside of the bus, and he's man, what can I tell you, man? Let me see, Jacob. He was following in my footsteps without really knowing he was doing it.
Right.
And Michael came along, and I thought he would sure be doing the same thing, but no. Ever since he was, as far as back as I can remember, he would always talk about, Dad, and Marines, and he talked to me about, the different types of artillery and the Hummer. What are they called? The Hummer bees.
Yeah, the Humvees.
Humvees, sorry.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand until he finally decided to make that decision. Music was not for him. What he wanted to do was be a Marine, and he's doing a very fine job of it. He's recently got up to that rank where they have the
blood stripe. Yeah, he's an NCO. He's a corporal now, man.
He's a corporal now. So congratulations to him. And he said, man, he's been working really, really hard. And every time I talk to him, he's just passionate about it. At first, he was kind of sad because he went during the weirdest time, which was COVID. And it was very, very lonely for him, as it was lonely for you.
Yeah.
But I would write to him, and he would write back, and I guess that would be like one of the very few things that would bring him peace.
Yeah, for sure, man. When you hear from a loved one, especially if you never, you've always been a family person, and then when you get taken out of that, it sucks, man. It really sucks. I wanted to ask you, so when he left, I always like to ask parents, regardless if they're a music star, right? But how did you feel when you went to the graduation, right? Did you go to this?
I was not able. No, they wouldn't allow anybody.
Oh, it was during
COVID. I really wanted to be there, and I was ready. I told them, I can't wait till you graduate. Pero no se hizo. It was just, I think it was online or something like that, and it was quick. But I felt happy for him because it's what he wanted to do. And I had never in my life, yes, when we would play football and we would play the national anthem, and I wouldn't play football, I'm talking about being in band and doing that row. I had that pride in me just because I was doing the row, but I never had a real sense of the American pride until he joined the Marines, and it took on a whole different meaning for me. So now it's like every time I meet somebody that's a Marine, it means something to me. Every time I see a lot of people don't. A lot of people know the Jesse Turner that they always see on social media, but they never know the real guy that's at home. That's I don't like going anywhere, and I don't like going anywhere because I just don't. I don't like the attention. As weird as that sounds. So what I do is I go to restaurants, and when I see somebody that they have that Vietnamese cap, and it's an older gentleman sitting by himself, I'll pay for his meal. I don't take pictures of it. I don't record it. I just pay for his meal, and I tell the waitress, don't tell him that I paid for it. Or if I see another gentleman that's a Marine serving, or anybody, I try to take care of him. And I always think, man, I hope someone does that for my son as well in the future.
Yeah.
And I just, I had that sense of pride. So that's just who I am. And when I was telling you I don't go anywhere, so here's the story. So in 2016, before 2016 and back, I was a very social butterfly. As a matter of fact, we had this thing called Siggno Adventures, where we were just, everybody wanted to know where I got Siggno Adventures from. I got it from Pantera. I used to be a big Pantera fan, and those guys were just disruptive and destructive, and they would dare people to eat like dumb things, and they would do stupid things. And that's where I carried myself. I said, I'm going to create Siggno Adventures. So I created Siggno Adventures. And but when 2016 came along and my son had his accident, Jacob, I stopped going out. As much as I wanted to be out, I couldn't. First of all, I was in a very dark place. And then secondly, everybody's saying, hey, Jesse, how's Jacob doing? It would just cause like some type of trauma for me. It would take me to that place every single time. And I knew my son's status, and I never wanted to share it with anybody. I tried to be very, quiet about it. But everybody kept asking me and asking me and asking me and asking me. So every time, I know people always meant well, and people always wanted me to feel better about it when they would ask about them. But I started... My light started dimming and dimming and dimming, and I started staying home more and more. And here, I want to see here over the last after COVID, I started coming out again. I want to say being myself. I guess I don't want to say I had an encounter with God, but I accepted what life has to bring me and offer me. And sometimes they're not the greatest things that life brings you.
Not for sure, man.
But
everybody has a path, bro. And everybody's path is not straight. That's for sure. We say that all the time. Like, a path can go loop-de-loops. It can go back. You can fall down 100 times, man, but you just got to find a way to get up and keep going.
And that's all I've been doing, man. So I'm a very happy, joyful person. I try to be as real, as genuine as I could possibly be. And that's really it, man. I've accepted what life has brought me, and I look at every opportunity as a moment for me to smile and give off my positive vibes and give off my good light and my good intentions.
That's good, man. Tonight I really wanted the people. People were hitting me up all day. They're like, "Yo, Bump, like, what do you?" And because everybody knows how I am, right? I said, and I've seen many of your interviews, and a lot of it's about music and stuff. But I really wanted exactly what you just said. Is like, what does Jesse do when he's not having an accordion on his shoulders and in front of thousands of people? Like, what I mean? I guess more on Lucky Joe's side. I don't think you do it as much as Lucky Joe, but shout out to Lucky Joe. But I love watching his TikToks and stuff when he's pranking you or just doing something just to aggravate you.
You know what?
Like that's to me, that shit is hilarious.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about the Siggno Adventures, I think you guys were one of the beginnings.
We were the first and only.
So Intocable does their vlog, right?
We started way before them.
You see?
Ours is like 15 years ago. If you go in there and look up Siggno Adventures Part 1, and it was just an experiment. And I'm telling you, I got it off of Pantera. And Pantera, when they were all alive and still on tour, I had that idea of
Just, but who would record though? Like yourselves, or y'all had you had a guy with you, like, hey, whenever we're just bullshitting, turn that camera on.
The thing is that we were always fun. We were always laughing, and we were always very daring. And I was the ringleader of all the, of all the dumb things that we would do. And when I tell you we would do some dumb things, I mean, we would do some really stupid things. Like, we got tased. Yeah, I'll pay you. I'll give you $40 if you allow us to get, if you let me tase you. You know, back in the day, we tased Chino and just a lot of dumb things, man, that we used to do. And we went to the zoo one time. We all went to the zoo, and we recorded that because every day was an adventure with us. And then I would just edit it at home. I had a program, and I would edit everything. And
yourself? You do that yourself?
I still do. You know, I still do. I edit all of our commercials. I edit all of our video screens.
A la madre! I would think that Siggno would. You have a guy that's like, hey, here, fix my shit.
I mean, there's a guy that we just started, barely going to start working with, but he has not done anything yet. But from our intro to the very last video that you see on our screen are videos that I've made on a computer through programs. And people always ask me, how do you do it? How do you do it? And I'm like, it's not as easy as you think it is. You need to know about PNG files, JPEG. You need to know about the program.
Sounds,
you need to know about everything. And if you go and look on our Grupo Siggno, I'm the one that edits everything. The majority of the commercials or the majority of the events after the show, everything's being recorded on my phone. Then I put it together, and then that's what you end up seeing.
Dude, and the cameras now on phones are ridiculous. I mean, you don't need to be carrying around a big old camera or whatnot.
They're 4K, so I don't even record in 4K. I record in 720 because I know it's going to be
on YouTube.
Mostly here or here. Here. But yeah, so we've been doing this for 22 years, and man, éramos bien cagapalos.
Just
éramos bien cagapalos back in the day.
The first time that I ever seen you guys live was actually in a club in Ybor City. The club was called Acapulco. It's in Tampa. Ybor is it's like Sixth Street. It's like the 6th Street of Tampa, where the old cigar, like the Cubans used to make all the cigars and stuff.
We already had the brown bus, right?
You had the brown bus, yes.
I remember. And it was kind of it was just different. There was some palm trees outside. It was in the corner, right?
No, so the one you're talking about is the first time you went, that would have been Spurs. It was like a country bar, and then on Sundays they would open up the Tejano, but that led to people opening up even a bigger club that you guys played in Acapulco, which is more towards a center.
I remember Acapulco. I just remember Acapulco.
And the stage was like super high. The stage was like 5.5, 6 feet high in the air. And you guys were just starting to roll. You know what I mean? And I was stationed there, so you would bring to hear Tejano music in Florida. You know, I didn't know that there was a lot of Tejano fans in Florida. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's the first time that I saw you guys, and I followed you guys ever since. Being deployed all the time. You know, your music. You know, I tell a lot of musicians that I don't think you guys really understand the magnitude of your music, of where it takes somebody sometimes. Like, you know, being in another country. You know what I mean? It reminds us that home is still here. You know, the world's still spinning, and no matter what kind of day we had, if it sucked, whatever we had to do that day, eventually we're going to make it back to Texas somehow, some way.
No, trust me. I mean, I've really evaluated that. I've after doing this for 22 years and hearing people come up to me and tell me, your song, Mama, you don't know what it does for me. I know what it does. For people, I've even had soldiers on the other side of the world message me, you know, I'm having these thoughts, and I message them back, and I go, hey, hang in there, you know. I know the magnitude, and I know the magnitude. I don't like saying I'm an artist, right? But that's what I do, right? Is we create art through music. But I know what it's like because I stop and I listen to John Mayer, and when I listen to him, it takes me to a certain place.
Right.
You know, I listen to John Mayer, it makes me think about my son, and all I could do is cry. If I listen to Madonna, it takes me to me sitting in the car with my sister and wondering, why am I singing I'm a material girl? If I listen to Te Traigo Estas Flores, I think about my dad, you know, and living in a ranch. You think about Paulino Bernal that just passed away.
Yeah.
A lot of people knew him through being famous through the opposite side. The first music I ever listened to was actually Paulino Bernal. And it was all los coritos, los cantos. I mean, I remember my mom would pump that station over and over, and she had the cassettes there, Paulino Bernal, and all I would hear is, that was the first. I went on a real weird trip like 2 weeks ago. I was just having this conversation with Carlitos Miranda on my way over here. I was telling him,
you were talking to Carlitos on the way over here?
Yeah, I was telling him that I had some unos sentimientos encontrados, like some feelings that were inside of me that I guess needed to be let out. I guess when somebody passes, right, you don't realize the impact that they had on you, what you were talking about. Yeah, I mean, if there was no Paulino Bernal, there would have been no Ramon Ayala y sus Bravos del Norte, or Cornelio Reina and Ramon Ayala. He's the one that discovered them. And if there had been no Ramon Ayala and no Paulino Bernal, or if he never would have gone Christian, I would have never dreamed of playing the drums the way I did at church. It's such a weird circle.
How one thing can make so many different things happen.
Yeah, and I was telling Carlitos the story of Paulino Bernal because I know it. I know his testimony of how he came to serve God, and I was telling him about it, and he goes, "Man," "that's a trip." And where did I leave my phone?
Yeah, he lost it.
And now I have it right here. And we were on a good trip, right? We were on a real good trip, and then he tells me, "Man, I can't believe that we're talking about all these things," and sometimes I tell these stories like I do with Rock and Roll James, right?
Yeah.
And you don't believe it until you see it. I know some of you are not going to probably be able to see it. But he goes, "Man, it's so weird that we're talking about Paulino, and he was talking about his dad, and we're talking about his mom, and we're talking about all the people that influenced us." And he said, "Man, I can't believe this is so weird that we're having this conversation today." And he tells me, "But I appreciate you." And I said, "No, man, I appreciate you." And he goes, "Look at what I found here the other day. Now that you're bringing up Paulino Bernal and who he discovered, what does it say there?"
Cornelio Reina.
That's he wrote that. He would write that out, and he sent it out to Carlos Miranda's mom and dad to help him promote Cornelio Reina. He sent me that one, and he sent me this one. It's an actual picture of Cornelio Reina.
In the
yeah.
Dude.
So for those of you that don't know, I got to meet I got to play with Paulino Bernal at a church at the McAllen Convention Center. I played the drums because I used to play with Los Atletas de Harlingen, which is a Christian band, and I was just a kid. But Paulino would come in and he would grab the accordion and he would play a few songs with it. It's just amazing. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe that. I was still poor. You know, I came from a poor family, and I was still poor in that moment when I was playing with them. But I was like, wow, I got to play Paulino Bernal. He was like the talk of every church I went to. I got to play with Paulino Bernal. Yeah, that was like my thing. I got to play with Paulino Bernal. I got to play.
Shoulders out.
And I would tell other people, and some people really didn't know because at that time other music was hitting. But I got to hear Paulino Bernal through his Christian albums. I never got to hear any of the old stuff until recently. But in Paulino Bernal's testimony, he says that, you know, he became very famous, and he ends up drinking. He ends up being a cheater. You know, he wants to fix things with his wife, and he does. So he leaves the Conjunto Bernal, and Eloy takes over, and they're already Paulino Bernal's a super.
They're huge already.
They're huge. Yeah. So then Paulino Bernal, he decides to go to McAllen. He opens up a restaurant, the very first restaurant in the city of McAllen, Texas. And one day he decides to go. He opens up a record label, and he goes across to Matamoros I'm sorry, across to Reynosa, and he's at a bar drinking. He hasn't even given his life to God yet or anything like that. And while he's playing, these two kids, teenagers, quiere escuchar unas canciones, and they played a couple of songs for Paulino. And Paulino told them, pues está muy bien, muchachos, pero así nunca van a llegar a ninguna parte. Like, with playing those songs de los alegres de Terán, you're never going to get anywhere. And then one of them said, well, tenemos canciones originales. He goes, tienen canciones originales, déjame escucharlas. He says, let me hear them. Ya no llores, mujer, ya no estés triste. And that's Paulino Bernal discovered Cornelio Reina and Ramon Ayala. Therefore begins their very first album recorded under Paulino's label.
See, I mean that's crazy. I mean, you're absolutely right. Like it's like a tree, it's like a tree, right? Like all these branches come from that tree, and we wouldn't have that tree if it wasn't for one specific person in that time. Like somebody crossed paths. And that I follow you on social media, Jess. I know that your mom is you grew up in the church. I mean, you just mentioned it right now. You grew up in the church. Some of the things that, again, I've seen plenty of interviews where you've answered a lot of questions, the musical questions and stuff. But the young Jesse, the 12, 13, 14-year-old Jesse. Let's talk about him. Okay. Where was your mind in those like you already had picked up the accordion?
At 10 years old, I was very active. My dad was already gone. My dad passed away at the age of 7. I saw him die through a window. He had a massive heart attack, and he died right there at the ranch where we used to live. Y ni era rancho, era más monte que rancho, ¿me entiendes? And I didn't realize that this would be affecting me for the rest of my life. But there was my hero. There was my hero passing. He gave me my very first drumsticks, and they were made out of mesquite. We couldn't even afford, it's not that we couldn't afford. My dad would just not take the trip or take me seriously enough to say, I'm going to go buy my son a pair of drumsticks all the way in Harlingen, because Harlingen was far from where we lived. So he would always carve up with his knife from the mesquite tree. He would cart out drumsticks, and I would beat up on pots and cans, los botes de manteca, los botes de café. Sometimes my mom would get mad because I would use those plates, the foil plates they would put pies in or whatever.
Yeah.
And that would be my cymbal, and I'd be banging it. And my dad died at the age of 7, so it starts there, right? At the age of 8, I still don't realize what happened. At 9, I still don't know what's going on. At 10, I'm just enjoying life. I'm just a kid. I believe I'm playing soccer. We went very far. We went to, it was like some kind of form of state soccer. We lost like in the second round. But I got to go to El Paso for the very first time. I got to leave Santa Rosa to go play soccer. That was weird. But at
the age you were talking, like young, your tweens.
But we were the Valley champs for like 4 years in a row. Every year I was there, not because I was there, but even after I left, they were still like, they would always get first place. And they were called the Santa Rosa Blazers or something like that. No, the Santa Rosa Saints.
And you can still play some soccer?
Yeah, well, not as much. I'm hurt from my back today. But back then I used to be left forward. I was a left forward in the middle. And I played mid. I'm sorry, not forward. I was the middle left. And anyway, so 10, I mean, there was so much going on. I was learning how to be a man at a young age because I was cutting the grass. I was cutting my neighbor's grass. I had a very big imagination. I would still play with G.I. Joes. I remember it. I really didn't have any friends. My best friends were a dog, a cat, any animal that would come near me. They would become my friends.
You're still a big animal lover?
Yeah, I don't hunt. There's a lot of people that go hunting, and all respects to them. But I remember seeing a movie that was called Powder.
Powder?
Powder. Look it up if you haven't seen it. And
guess gunpowder is what it's talking about.
No, it's about a guy he's all pale, and I don't remember the whole story of Powder, but I remember there's a part where they go hunting and he doesn't want to go, and the guy shoots a deer, and when he shoots the deer's like dying, and while it's dying, the guy has some type of God-given power.
Oh, and he brings it back to it doesn't die?
No, he touches the deer, and then he touches the guy that shot him, and the guy for those few seconds is feeling the death or the dying, what the deer is feeling, or what the buck is feeling. He's feeling it, and I just couldn't, man. One time, I'm gonna tell you a story. I begged my mom to buy me a BB gun. I begged her to buy me a BB gun and begged her because my neighbor had one across the street, and I would always hear him bang, 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 shooting the cans, right? I said, Mom, please, Mom. And I would, this is a story that I've never said. There's going to be the first time I say it. I always give interviews something new. I used to steal G.I. Joes.
The store's calling right now. They're calling right now. The store's calling. I used to steal
G.I. Joes from Kmart. Because my mom would never want to buy them for me, man.
Hey, dude, G.I. Joes right now? I'm not lying. I just literally bought one for my son about, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks ago. Uh-huh. They're upwards in the $30-$40
Man, I believe
for a toy.
It. Well, back then, trip out on this part, Kmart would sell them, and I would go in, I would open it, and I remember if you picked it apart, I would take off the rubber band, and then I would put one side on my right, one side on my left in my mouth, and I would be walking with Mom and Kmart, and I was all happy that I had a Storm Shadow in my mouth. That was the name of, or Flint, one of those.
Oh,
so I'd be walking around with my mom, and my mom would say, "¿Qué tienes, muchacho?" Yo le decía a mi mamá.
Yeah, they already getting you. They said,
and then one time, I'll never forget, we were walking out of the Kmart, and all I heard was "Gig, gig, gig," and I me cagué todo. I was like, "Oh my God, they know I have a GI," and I just ran to the car, and my mom just stayed there with her cart, and there was something in her cart. And I thought it was what was in my mouth, which was a G.I. Joe.
Somebody commented, damn, no wonder Kmart went out of business.
Kmart went out of business because of me. Sorry, Kmart. I love you, though.
Oh,
so
man.
At 10 years old, that's what was going on with me, man. I was just playing drums, and I was playing at church. A band came and picked me up, and they asked my mom for permission if I could tour with them. And they're still called Los Alegres de Harlingen. Those would end up being Jacob's grandparents. His grandpa came and asked my mom if I would play with them, because he came to our church for a visit, and they didn't have a drummer, so I played with them, and they liked that I had a drum set, and I went on tour with them and we traveled everywhere. We went to Chicago, played in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I was like, wow, I'm never going to forget this moment.
A kid from Santa Rosa, from the rancho,
at 10,
in front of 1,000 people.
At 10, 11 years old, I was doing that. And then we went everywhere. We went to different parts in Mexico. And, I mean, it was just a very good learning experience. There, I got to learn how to play the bajo sexto, the bass. And even then, it was either with them or at my church. I was always learning how to play an instrument, except for the accordion. The accordion comes into effect at around the age of 16. Now, I want to remind you that by the time I'm 16, Jacob is already born in Florida. He's in Florida, and I'm still a kid. I'm still a teen having a kid.
I want before you go on. That's where I can relate with you. I think sometimes that really, and a lot of interviews that I've seen you do, that really gets overlooked. It's like something like they just go on to something else,
people,
right?
I mean,
but what I want people to know is like even that did not stop you from living your, because dude, in our society and in our culture, a lot of times like, oh, ya valió. You need to start working, right? You have a kid, you need to start working. You're going to school. If you were a baseball player and you were going to go, that's done. You need to go get a job. You need, do this, do that. It's just, that's our way of thinking, our way of life.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, man, that I never wanted to do anything. I never wanted to become any, I'm sorry. I don't want to say that I'm famous, because I don't think that I'm famous. I think famous is like people that travel around the world. I think I'm popular, but I don't think I ever wanted to get. I never thought or imagined of being at the magnitude that I'm at today. I never thought I'd have this much freedom of doing. I never said I'm going to do that. I never dreamed. All I ever liked was music at 10 years old. So I'm still at 10. I know I moved up a bit.
You're good.
But back at 10, I was listening to Michael Jackson, and I wanted to play. My first goal was to play in the high school band, right? So as I was getting 11, and as I was turning into 12, I started realizing that I didn't have my dad, and I realized that I would look up in the stands, and my dad was not there, but everybody else's was. I would look up, and my mom was not there either. But I understood my mom because she couldn't understand. My mom does not know how to. She knows how to read, but she doesn't really know how to write like enough to be able to. She's just not. She had a very short education, to be quite honest with you. My mom comes from the smallest ranch you can imagine in Mexico. Viene de lo más pobre mi mamá. Pero con lo poquito que ella tenía, I mean, she gave me love, and that's all that mattered. So when I would look in the stands, I would feel weird. And then I started asking questions in my head of, where's my dad? Where's my dad? And then all of a sudden, I realized what death was. And the next thing you knew is that I wanted to find death. Even though I wasn't telling anybody, I wasn't able to sleep at night at an early age of 12, 13. I was having, I don't want to call it anxiety because I didn't have anxiety, but I just couldn't sleep. I think if I would have been diagnosed with something, I would have had some type of imbalance that kids have today. I don't know, ADD or
ADHD or
ADD.
ADD.
I would have had something. I would have had something because I could not sleep at night for the life in me. And I would wake up with a bunch of energy. But I was always making music, always. So when my dad's missing, I start cutting myself. I start with the knife, and I start cutting myself here.
But that's something that you saw somewhere, Jesse, or you just like one day just started like, I'm gonna do this.
I just started doing it. I don't know why. I think I want to say I saw it first. No, I didn't see it with anybody. I just started doing it. I would cut myself, and I had heard of it somewhere. I can't tell you the reference of where. And I would cut myself, and then I would be like, well, this feels better than what I feel in here. And this feels better than what it... I mean, I was real bad. And then one day the teacher started noticing, and they said, you need to go to the counselor's office. And they asked me, what did I cut myself with? I said, I made up some lie. So then I started here, all over my chest. Like if I were to show you right now, you could see I easily have over like 100 cuts, but you just have to look very carefully. You can see all the scars that I had where I would just constantly cut myself. And if I was wearing a white shirt, it would be red, blood red. Why I was doing this was because I think I was, not that I think I was lost. I didn't know what I wanted out of life. I didn't know where I was going. And I one day was taking NyQuil. I would constantly take NyQuil. NyQuil already existed. And I would drink that stuff like it was like a drug for me, but it would help me sleep. I would take it during the day, and I was just like, I just wanted to die because I wanted to be with my dad, not even thinking about my mom. It was real stupid.
So right now we're at what, 11, 12 years old?
11, 12 years old. And I was thinking real stupid. And then I ended up going to a different school. My mom let me go with the neighbor. And it was during this time while I was playing with Los Alegres that she gets pregnant. And I was 14, I think. I was either 13 or 14 years old. No, I was 14. And my son was born. I didn't get to see him. She was scared of her parents. She took off. And her parents wanted me to get married with her. But my mom said no, because she said, what are we doing marrying kids? What are we doing marrying kids with kids? You know, they're not ready.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So he was too far away, and I couldn't really see him. I didn't have the resources. I was still poor. And a lot of things happened. In high school, I met a guy named Artie Tijerina, and he was the roadie for Rubén Vela y su conjunto. Asked me if I wanted to go on the weekends with him. I said, yeah, sure. So then I started touring with that, but going back to this because it has an ending to it.
Got you.
So then one day at the age of 14, I was at my cousin's house, Carla, and I met a girl. No, I knew this girl, and she was literally the most beautiful girl in school, right? She was voted that, just like Paulino Bernal, weird, right? And I never thought I could have a pretty girlfriend. I didn't consider myself good looking at all when I was a kid. So there I was, laying on a carpet like the one that's here today, and I was laying on the floor. I remember like if it was yesterday. And my cousin Carla, she knew everything about me, and she told this girl that I'm not going to say her name out of respect because she's married today, and I've never disrespected her. And I'm laying there, and she's standing over me, and she's nodding her head, and she's like, why are you doing that? She looked at me, and I said, give me a name. Give me a girl's name, because I'm not going to say her name.
A girl's name?
Give me what's your wife's name?
Maria.
What's your wife's name?
Maria.
Okay. So then I look up, and I say, Maria? And she goes, yes. I go, what are you doing here? She goes, I came to visit, right? And she goes, you need to stop doing that. She started lecturing me. And I'm like, man, I can't believe I have like the prettiest girl in front of me telling me that. And I feel like somebody cared for me. And then she goes, come on, get up. And when she picked me up, she planted a kiss on me. And I said, whoa, like I saw fireworks. Fireworks. I saw fireworks. It was the first time that I felt in love. I felt in love. And so I told my mom, I found the love of my life. Encontré el amor de mi vida. I am in love, I'm in love, I'm in love. And I'm going to marry her. I'm going to marry her. Things didn't work out. I was with her for like about 4 years, 6 years of my life. Now 4 or 5 years of my life. And I've always made her look bad, but I was just as bad. You know, I wasn't always a good person.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lot of girls after me, even though she was a pretty, even though she was the pretty one. I mean, everybody was not completely after me, but in other towns, like people, when I would go play, no matter who I would go play with, there was always somebody that wanted to meet me. And I would always say, okay, well, we'll talk or whatever. Y era un poco chiflado. And then I got into a band. Poco, sí. Un poco, no mucho. And then I got into Estilo, and Estilo just exploded. Boom. We started playing in schools, and it became even more popular. And they did a documentary on it called...
That's the one on YouTube, right? Where you're in the documentary in the high schools.
Accordion Dreams.
There you go.
It's a movie. It's a documentary movie. And then one day she left me. One day this girl left me. And I felt that she left me because I wasn't good enough. And I felt that she left me because... for stupid reasons. Because she had a car and I didn't. And she was picking me up to go to school. And I was begging my mom for a car. And I would beg my mom for a car just because I didn't want to be left behind. I felt... and I would get mad at my mom. It's stupid. Now, looking back at it today, I'm thinking, man, how stupid I was. Because I didn't need any of that.
You probably left your mom feeling like crap too, man.
No, I didn't. My mom would make me understand, mijito, yo no tengo ese tipo de dinero, you know. And I knew not to even ask, but I asked once. And after a while, I just got used to it. And the next thing you knew was that I was dumped. You know, I was left. So then I wanted her to see me die. So I took all of my mom's medications and I cut myself pretty good right here all over, like where I was bleeding pretty bad. And I thought I was going to die. I was walking over to the Santa Rosa High School. I was running over there. And I literally fell in the middle of the street. Boom. I fell. Passed out. The ambulance came for me. They took me to the hospital. They stitched me up. And they said, we're either going to put this pipe down your throat or you're going to take this black liquid, which is called charcoal. And then I needed to drink some other ones that were just horrible, man. I took it. And there I was laying on the bed. And then my mom walks in. And my mom says, man, she tells me in Spanish, mijito, she goes, isn't the love that I give you enough for you to want to live? And I'm like, damn, I really messed up. And I felt like the smallest piece of dirt for hurting my mom like that. I realized that my mom was my first love. It was an old girl. My dad, even though he passed away at 7, he was my first love. My mom, she was my first love. God only gives us certain people in our lives. You can't choose or pick who your mom or dad's going to be. You can only choose what to make of it. You might say, well, you know, my mom's not perfect or my dad's not. No, man, but you forgive them because you don't know their past and you don't know how bad your grandpa or your grandma had it and what made them make your mom or dad be the way they are today. Or you don't know who made your grandparents be the way they are. Because I've heard stories, man, of you know, I've heard stories of people tell me, man, I would get beat by my dad. But then when you would study further down the line, I would come to realize that that guy's dad was also getting beat by his dad. And his dad, I mean, it's just like a chain reaction.
Right.
So I always tell people, it's up to you to break that spell, that habit, that tradition of, you know, of whatever bad habit it is. It's up to you to break it. It's up to you to try to, even if your mom doesn't want anything to do with you, you just make the best of it so that when it's your time or when it's her time to go, you're able to say, you know what? I'm at peace with God and I did everything I could possibly do to make things work. So I send my mom or send my dad off to heaven and it's okay with me. I'm at peace. A lot of people when their parents die, they're not at peace because they didn't have a chance to say or to try harder, I love you, or to show them that I forgive you. Most parents want to hear, I forgive you, Dad, or I forgive you, Mom. But it just goes on and on and on. Everybody's got this thing called pride. Everything's got this thing called ego.
For sure.
And it kills a lot of relationships between parents and children. I'm not also a perfect parent either. I was an imperfect parent. While all this was going on, I mean, my son was being taken care of by his mom in Florida, and she did a very fine job of it. But there was a point where my son wanted to come live with me, you know. Jacob wanted to come live with me. Please, Dad, and please. And I still have the messages today. Let me come live with you. I want to come live with you.
Yeah, and about how old was he, right? When that
He was
started?
about 15, 16 years old when he wanted to come and live with me. And I would see him when I would tour to Florida. Those would be the only times I would see him. Or when he would come down and he would come and see his grandpa.
Yeah.
I would go see him for a little bit. And, I mean, it was always a joy to see him play. So here's a funny story. So one time I went to go see him play at the church that we were at. I went to go see him at the church, and he was little. Estaba chiquillo. And he was already playing the 2-fingered accordion. It was a 2-row accordion. And he was playing the accordion, and I was like, wow, this is my boy. I can't believe this. I was so proud of him, right? I was so proud of my boy. And I was just like in the moment, and habían todos los hermanos de la iglesia.
Right.
And mind you, I come from a Pentecostal church, and I'm not criticizing or saying anything, but if you're Pentecostal or you know somebody, you know what it's like to be there. And when I was sitting in the back, after my son played, I was already playing, you know, I was already playing for, I don't know who. I don't know if it was Ruben Bella, or I was already making music. And one of the musicians that was not anybody related to my son said, yo me acuerdo de un niño que tocaba en esta iglesia. I remember a boy that used to play in this church. Now he's playing for the devil.
And you're in.
And I'm like, I felt like, you know, that, I don't know if I felt like a heat. Like I felt like, please don't do this. And he said, Jesse, salte de ahí. he said, Jesse, get out of there, in front of my family. And
wow.
So then he goes, vamos a orar. He goes, let's pray. And when they closed their eyes, I got out of my seat and I left. And I felt very embarrassed. So then that same pastor musician came to my house the next day. And there at church, I found out later that when I left, they said, hermanos, el diablo lo hizo que se fue. The devil made him leave this church and let's pray for him. But yeah. And I'm like, the next day I looked at him and he came to my house. And I looked at him dead in the eye and I said, you know, all you really did was embarrass me. If you really wanted to talk to me, I would have listened to you more if you talked to me one-on-one.
Instead of doing it the way you did it.
Instead of doing it the way you did it. I said, you know, I was at peace watching my son. And I love God. God is in my heart. You know, my mom's wishes are for me to be a pastor. I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. Most people will ask, why not? You don't believe? No, I do believe. But the problem is that there's too many opinions. There's too many religions for one to be correct and all the other ones be wrong. And if you go into one church, I've learned, you know, coming from a church, I've learned that everybody always says, well, they're wrong, and they're always judging. And respect to those that don't. Not because of that I've walked away. No. Instead, I'm on a bigger stage to people that are completely lost sometimes, to people that don't want to know anything about God, to people that don't want to hear anything True. About positive vibes. But then I stand there on stage and I share most of the stuff that I just talked about. I'll prove it to you.
I got you.
I'll prove it to you.
Let's see if it stays.
In a matter of a couple of minutes. I'll try to do it as quickly as I can. When I said that I came from a poor family, cuando dije que venía de una familia pobre, that I didn't have much to offer, the only thing I could offer was my heart. And if you left me, I swear that I felt like all I could offer you was my thoughts. Si tú me dejas, va a llover en mi corazón. No tengo dinero, pero te ofrezco mi amor. Píntame como quieras. Yo soy como soy. Yo solo soy un pobre, pero rico en amor. You know, very first song. Next one. No sé por qué tú no me quieres. Ahora te arrepientes y me dejas en mi cuarto llorando, esperándote, tratando de encontrar donde te hice mal. Pero háblame para decirme que ya no me quieres. ¿Cómo puedes dejarme llorando hasta casi matarme? Another one. All the stories that I've been telling you. Traté de olvidarte y no te pude sacar de mi mente. Me corté hasta las venas. Era más fuerte por dentro el dolor. Quise escapar de esta vida, porque vivir sin tu amor no es vivir. Me está sangrando la herida que me dejaste al partir. Traté de olvidarte, pero estás tan dentro de mí que para sacarte tendría que morir. Tendría que morir. Hace poco dijiste que todo se terminó, que ya no me quieres, que encontraste un nuevo amor. Debes saber que no estoy soportando, que poco a poco me estás matando. 180 kilómetros y necesito más. No me importa que pare, no me importa llegar. Debes saber que no lo estoy soportando. No tengo miedo y no estoy llorando. Tienes 2 minutos para llamarme. Después será muy tarde para buscarme. And what was I asking for? My whole entire life was auxilio, ayuda por favor. No dejes que se muera nuestro amor. You know, all these songs were things that I was living through my childhood. All of them. Even years later. Si tú supieras lo que significas en mi vida, gracias a ti. Fuiste aquel ejemplo de vivir la vida feliz. Gracias a ti. Soy lo que soy. Eres mi héroe, el que siempre me salvó. Gracias a Dios por todo tu amor. No podría haber tenido un padre mejor. Mejor. Guárdame un espacio allá en el cielo. Padre, sabes que te quiero. No es un adiós, es hasta luego. Guárdame un espacio allá en el cielo. Aquí todo va perfecto. Un día nos reencontraremos. Mi mamá nunca me deja de decir lo mucho que yo me parezco a ti. Everything.
Wow, man.
Everything written on a
Dude.
Everything written on a piece of paper till today.
Just, but you know, until you did it like that and talking the way you're talking, it is literally your life. I mean,
it's all there, brother. It's all there. Every single year, every single time. My stepdad died when I was in 2004. But I knew him since I was 3. We all went to the same church, and he was my dad's friend. He married my mom when I was like about 11 or 12. I learned how to play all my instruments with him. He was the one guy that never judged me. He was the one guy that never said anything bad about me. He always loved me, and yet I never called him dad. You know, I called him Hermano Ruiz. He was a good man. Good man, just as good as my father.
you regret that, you think?
No,
not calling him dad?
not at all. Because when it came time to do his service, I made sure that my mom was taken care of. I made sure that I represented who he was and said everything I needed to do there. You know, and because of him, the 2004, I didn't even have a band anymore. I didn't have anything. All I had was like $850 to my name. And that was it. And I said, I was feeling sad because my mom said, ¿Ahora qué voy a hacer? Ya no tengo a nadie. My mom said this is it. This was her 3rd husband. And they had all died. One of them in an accident. Another one, I don't remember. Oh, my dad, he passed of a heart attack. And he was her 3rd husband dying also of natural causes. My mom said, I'm going to be alone. And I said, no, mamá, me vas a atender a mí. You have me. But in that time, when we were at the funeral home, I wrote, necesito llorar poquito para poder dormir. No puedo olvidarte, sigo pensando en ti. No sé por qué te fuiste, pero lo acepto. En mi almohada están las lágrimas que te he llorado. And then it goes on, te extraño, te extraño, te extraño, te extraño. I'm going to miss you, and I love you. During that time, I was in a relationship. We were together just because we were used to each other. I don't even think, well, yeah, the love was there, but it was just more of like, I'm used to you and you're used to me. You don't want to let me go. We're always fighting. I won't let you go. And we're just done for that. So,
Justin, you write songs like that off the top of your head?
¿Para qué seguir si tú ya no me quieres? Pasa noches, no me tocas y me duele. Terminó nuestro amor. Mejor dímelo. I wrote Mejor dímelo in a matter of 10 minutes. And with those songs, I went into a studio, and with $850, I made an album. I wasn't expecting to be who I am today. I wasn't expecting to do anything. I wasn't expecting to own a company. I wasn't expecting to be in 2 tour buses. I wasn't expecting to have a nice lineup of amazing musicians, amazing leaders, of my staff. I wasn't expecting anything. I was just making music because I was hurt. So when I did that, Mejor Dímelo exploded. And I had to get my band back together. And little by one came in, but one left. And they all started coming in. And I got the band that I have today, including my son. My son was here. Joey was here. My son was here. David Rosas was here. A lot of musicians came through this Siggno journey, and I thank all of them. And through all of them, we are still here today in 2022. So, hold on. So this will be the last song I sing. So in everything that I'm telling you, in the very beginning, of all my problems, of all my depression, of all my anxiety, I've honestly lived. When I couldn't live for myself, I lived for my mother. You know. Sometimes we don't feel that great. Sometimes I don't. But then I remember that I have a beautiful mother that loves me. I have my sisters. I have all my family that loves me so much. So I have every reason to live. Even though I have a boy that can't get up, I have an amazing group, an amazing family. What else could I ask for? I have amazing friends everywhere I go. What else could I ask for? I'm as real as I can be. I'm as genuine as I can be. And what you see is nothing but the truth. My favorite song. Mamá, gracias por todos los besos por la mañana, por todos los sana, sana colita de rana. Hoy cumplo 5 años. Te amo tanto, tu pedacito de pan tostado. Mamá, hoy me di cuenta que el amor se convierte en dolor. Y aunque ella no me quiera, tú me vas a querer. Hoy cumplo 15 años. Te amo tanto. Gracias por ser mi amiga. Madre, eres todo en mi vida. Te amo con toda el alma. Mi regalo del cielo eres tú, tan hermosa. Que Dios te cuide y te bendiga siempre. Madre, te amo con toda la fuerza que hay en mi vida. Mi razón para luchar todos los días. Desde lo más profundo de mi corazón. Gracias, tu pedacito de pan tostado. Now if you ask me what my biggest fear is mamá. Desde hoy no sé qué voy a hacer sin ti. Sé que vas al cielo y que algún día te volveré a ver. Aquí te extrañaré. Te amo. Tu pedacito de pan tostado.
Wow.
Those are the lessons in life And I realized that you're going to have a lot of falls in your life. You're going to fall down many times. But I've always told people that, going back to what my mom said, my wishes are for you to be a pastor. I tell my mom, I'm already a pastor, just not the way you want me to be.
So true, man.
I already tell people the lessons that life has given me that are given to me by God. And I don't talk about religion because it creates separation. So I talk about a religion that we all know, and it's called love. If we just love one another, you know, you can become a stronger person. If you learn to accept things that life gives you, because God offers us one thing, but life says another. Like, God wants us to have a great life, but life will throw you spins. And I remind every one of you, God has given us free will. That means the ability to do whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to be drinking every single day, that's the road that you're choosing. But later on, I guarantee you're going to have problems with your liver. You're going to have a very short life. Maybe you're caught up in drugs. You're going to live a very short life. You're going to have complications. And I tell you this with all the love in the world. You know, I've learned to find God in my own way. And God is in every conversation. God is in every good intention that's in my heart. And I'm not perfect. I tell my mom that's why it's so hard for me to one day be a pastor. I said, because I feel that I'm already spreading good words. Yeah. And at the end of each show, I pray for everybody. Whether if they like it or not, whether they're drunk or not, I don't care. But they know I mean it. They know I mean it with all my heart. I pray for everybody, and everybody goes on. I pray for each and every one of you to go home safe. I pray for God to bring you peace, comfort, love, and fill you up with nothing but joy. And that's exactly what we will be doing tomorrow in the city of San Antonio, Texas. Tomorrow we will be at Smoke Sky Bar. And it's a very beautiful atmosphere. You'll be able to hear all the songs that I just sang today in this short amount of time and more. Because tonight you're only hearing a part of my life that's written in songs. But tomorrow you get to hear the full movie.
The full movie, you say?
You'll get to see the full movie. You'll get to see the whole show with lights and production. Tomorrow you get to have that experience, and it's a different experience. Last time we were here with Bronco. We played for 1 hour because we're currently on tour with Bronco. So this is the one time in San Antonio where we get to do 1 hour and 45 minutes, I believe. Well, actually, no, they're just telling me right now that we're doing 2 hours. So it'll be even more meaningful. I know a lot of people couldn't make it to the, what's it called over there? The Majestic?
The Aztec.
The Aztec Theater.
Sorry, not the Majestic. The Aztec Theater. A lot of people couldn't make it out there. But if you go online right now at eventmania.com, you can get your tickets for tomorrow. They're $25 for now. Don't wait until tomorrow. I know 2 days ago we were 50% sold. There was people that thought that we couldn't fill it up, and we already did it with just the simple fact that we're going. So hopefully I get to see all of my friends. And it's always a pleasure to see my friends. Like, people think that I'm untouchable or unreachable. No, I'm reachable. It's just that at the shows, everybody's there, and everybody wants to talk, and it becomes a little bit more difficult.
For sure.
And you know, I'd also like to apologize to the few people that see me sometimes in restaurants and see me like this. I'm not always, you know, everything I post on social media is positive. I'm always happy, but I'm not always that light. There's times when I'm just your average Joe, your average Jesse, just having lunch and having worries about things that have nothing to do with music.
Do you shop, Jess?
Do I what?
You go shopping?
Yeah, I do.
At the malls, like, you know, do you get frustrated at times? Like, man, I just want to come here and buy me a new pair of Air Force Ones. Like, just let me buy my pair of shoes and get out of here.
You know what? I'm barely coming. I don't want to say I'm coming out of that funk, but I got so used to like making faces, these ugly faces, of when people would ask me for photos. But it was because of my son. It wasn't because of them.
Right.
It was because I was in a dark place, and I got so used to doing that, of just putting my head down and not wanting to see anybody, not wanting to talk to, because I wanted to avoid that conversation. You know, I never wanted to have that conversation with it, and it made me like that. I was never like that. I was always like, oh yeah, come over here, you come over here, you come over here. I would wait until the last person would take their picture. But as I was sitting with a very good friend of mine, maybe about a month ago, we were having lunch, and 4 people came up and asked me, I have a pet peeve, right? So my pet peeve is...
Oh, here it goes, a pet peeve. So that way you already know not to do.
What's the definition of a pet peeve? Something I don't like?
Something that bothers the shit out of you.
Something little that just...
Yeah, I have this thing that I don't like for people to approach me when I'm eating. I think it's like the most disrespectful thing in the world. I think like in the middle, can I have a picture, please? Because I'm already leaving. And I'm like, man, I find eating so sacred. Like, you know, when you're eating, I find it like it's just, this is your nutrition, and it's gonna get cold. And yo por no ser mamón, you know, I'll get up and take that picture. But it comes with that face. It's a messed up face.
Yeah.
You want me to lie to you? Or you want me to be honest?
No, yeah. I mean, the people need to know.
I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm telling you how it is. But that's really it. And there might have been other times where people ask me for autographs, and I do it. But sometimes I'm not the Jesse Turner you see on social media. Sometimes I'm just like you. I have problems. I have back issues. I have hip issues. I'm just like you. I have worries. Sometimes I'm just like you, that just wants to be alone and just enjoy. But I understand. I'm a public figure. I embrace it. So the other day, I was sitting down with a real good friend of mine, and we're sitting at a table, and 4 people came, and I got mad. I'm not gonna lie, I got mad, and I'm like, man, oh, I go, man, I should have just stayed at home. And he was, and I know that I shouldn't think like that sometimes. Right. But it's just, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, I don't know. But it's just that while I'm eating, that's my pet peeve. But then my friend, which I'll give him the credit, Lucky Joe, makes a brother. He goes, you have a purpose in life. He goes, do you not see these people smile when they come up to you? Do you know that all your hard work and everything you've ever done, it's made them want to get out of their table, and they can't help themselves but want to come and take a picture with you? You could at least smile. And I said, yeah, man, you're right. I need to practice that more, but I still find it rude when I'm eating. But that's pretty much it, man. There's no such thing as levels for me. There's no such thing as fame for me. Fame, I'll leave it for those that fame and that stuff. I try not to cross that line. I just try to stay right here, level with everybody. I try to stay right here so that my head don't get this big, or I don't think that because I'm not. We're all human beings. We all bleed. We all have feelings. I'm just...
the way I see it all the time, just like you put your pants on the same way I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, God gave us the same opportunity. Well, he gave us the same opportunities, but in different ways. For you to share your talent, however it is that you share. Some people might think, well, what blessing do I have working at a restaurant? Well, maybe you have the touch of making the food delicious, but your mind or frame doesn't allow you to see it that way. Maybe you're at a flea market and you have a stand with a lot of things, and you might think, well, what talent do I have? Well, if you're that person that says, hey, aquí tengo esto, y fíjese que esto, and you're able to sell, then you have a talent. It's just that you need to embrace the little that God gives you and just let it explode from there. And if you believe in yourself, then others will start believing in you.
I'm happy, bro, that people got to see another side of you tonight. Like, you know what I mean? Like you
I'm
really.
at the edge. I was at the edge of the cliff. Did you see that? That's where my mind's at. That's how weird I am. I was at the edge of the cliff telling you all my stories. Like if I was going to jump out, and I had to sit back.
And now you're chill.
Yeah, now let's talk about something else.
Nah, just, can
I get a break?
A break?
Yeah, say hello to everybody. Tell everybody where we're going to be.
We're going to be at Smoke tomorrow. If you haven't gotten your tickets, that's where you need to be. You see? Hey, Jesse is the only guest that has ever gotten up and said, hey, I'm taking a break with or without you. But no, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. We're not going anywhere. We still got a little bit left, but this is Bumpers Wacky Wednesday. Yes, it's on a Thursday. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, welcome to the show. I do this every single Wednesday with all different artists in our genre, Tejano, Norteño, whatever you want to call it. I like to get and bring the artists in here so you guys can see a different side of them. We do talk a lot about music, but sometimes it's great to hear the artists talk about, as Jesse just did, talk about their personal side, man. So now when he's at Mi Tierra, about 2 forks into some enchiladas, you know what I mean? Like, don't come up to him and ask for a picture because you're not going to get the smile that you want, man.
I always tell you.
It's one of those things like, you don't bother him, right? Don't. I suggest you're the first guy to ever get up and said, "I don't care what you say, I'm gonna go take a break."
Oh yeah, it's because I don't know what type of.
Jesse,
I don't know what type of drink Jessica brought me. What is this?
The matcha.
It's a matcha.
It smells funny.
It's yummy.
It smells like your car.
Jasmine, what do we have on? What do we have? Are you watching on YouTube or Facebook?
I'm watching on Facebook.
Ask people what they want. Ask them what do they want to know.
You have that thing to give away, right? So you want to do questions?
The what? Was a lot of people were just commenting on how strong your songs were, how they just so relatable, right? That makes a song to me. That just makes a song so personal to people, right? You could be talking about your dad, but I could take the song like talking about a girl. Mm-hmm. It's just all how you interpret.
Us artists, you don't realize how much of it. I don't mean artist in the sense like artist. No, I don't mean artists like some famous artists. Like you don't realize how much of you don't realize what one is painting until you ask him. A painter will paint, and you look at it and you're like, okay, that's cool. But when you ask him, what is it? Well, he goes, I see a dove, and within the dove, I see peace, and within peace, I see love, and within love, I see God, and within God, that's how artists think. I'm not calling myself that. I just think that God gave me a very beautiful gift, and I've always been able. Anything I've ever felt that I needed to write, I've written it. And
Jesse, since you were chiquito, though, you've always been able to write like that.
No, it happened after. It happened after that day at the hospital. When I wanted to kill myself. It happened then. Instead of wanting to cut myself, I began to cut paper with pencil. I was like, that was a pretty line, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I just made that up right now. Quote Jesse Turner. Instead of cutting my arms or my chest, I started cutting paper with pencil.
It's first of all, I want to thank you for being here. For me, it's a privilege and an honor to have you here on Wacky Wednesday on a Thursday, because people really love what you do, man, and where you take them, and reminding them different parts of their life. Some of the things that we talk about on the show is the music, is the music business We were talking offline a little bit about, Tejano, Norteño.
I got all the answers for you.
There you go.
What do you want to know?
So
Throw your questions. Hey, and you know what? Whoever's on the chat, like if you have questions for me, ask. By all means, I'm here to answer your
Jasmine's.
questions.
So if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, if you have a certain question,
But what do you want to ask me about?
So my question is like,
Here it comes.
You kind of came in. Of course, you were young during the '90s when Tejano was just.
I was there with you.
You were a fan like me.
I was a big fan. I was the first one in line to go see La Tropa F when they had 2 tour buses. I was there when David Lee had his bus, and he had his Oiler color looking bus with the 2 trailers that were matching. I was there when Selena played in Mercedes. I was there when Joe Lopez and Maz were like at the peak of everything. I was there when La Mafia played at the Roadhouse in San Benito, and they had their big production, and Los Palominos were opening up for them, and Eli that was opening up for Los Palominos. I mean, I was there for Javier Galvan, su Grupo Fama. I was there for even the bands that I can't remember.
Hello, you just go to 100 miles an hour.
I can't even remember some of the bands that I would follow, but one of them was Carlitos Miranda. He had the one song, and I was there to see him at Shooters
with hair.
With hair. And I was there with bands that don't even exist anymore. Like there was a band that used to go, Tu perro me mordió. Who used to sing that?
I don't know, but I know what song you're talking about.
I went to go see every possible Gary Hobbs, Jay Perez, you name it, I was there. And you know what's weird is, here's the interesting thing. Not any of them, right? But in the 90s, instead of these bands uniting, they were all going against each other. Instead of them helping each other out, they were fighting for see who had the bigger stage and the bigger show and the bigger light.
For sure.
And what they should have been doing is they should have been working together to make bigger combinations and bigger shows and not let this die. Now, I know a lot of people say, is Tejano, that famous question, is Tejano dead or alive? Tejano is well and alive, right? But Tejano's dead in radio. I'm being very honest with you guys. It's not as alive as it used to be. Back then, there was a radio station for every single city. There was a Tejano station in every single city.
And towns.
And every small town, you name it, you could hear it everywhere. And what happened? People would start complaining, they would not support, and little by little it'd be. But is it alive? Absolutely. You go, Joe Lopez comes here and he'll sell it out. You go see David Lee.
Just saw him Sunday with Jay. It was packed.
But that's what I mean by it's alive, but it's just, I don't want to call it dead on radio. It's just slowed down. And let me tell you something that happened interesting in Tejano music is, I love Tejano music. I'm a Tejano by heart, right? But when they ask me what's my category, what is your music, I really don't know. I've never given it a category. I've just always said it's whatever it makes you feel. Because I've recorded conjunto, I've recorded Tejano, I've recorded norteño, and I just call it music, period. Soy Tejano.
But that's a smart thing to do, Jesse, because, we talked a little bit offline, right? If you label yourself something, pues, you're going to have people say, oh, you're Tejano, pues I'm not even going to give it a listen because I don't like Tejano. I only like norteño, or I only like conjunto. No. You know what I mean?
No, what you need to call it is music. And I know some people are going to get fired up over what I just said.
No, that's cool. It's Wacky Wednesday, dog. You do.
No, it's not, but it's Thursday, and that's what can cause problems on a Thursday. You know what I mean? But I'm saying it with all the love in the world. Hey, if you want Tejano music back, let me tell you the steps that we need to take. First of all, we need to start accepting these younger cats that are coming, that we don't even give them a chance. You have all the guests that have, now they're all like this right now. What you just said, they're ready. That's number one.
Yeah,
I mean that's the first thing. We got to give them a break, and you got to go out and support them. When they come to the shows, you gotta go out and support them. We gotta give them a chance, and we gotta give them a platform, and we gotta give up and coming, the younger generation, something to look forward to. Because if not, They'll continue to keep out. If not, they'll continue to keep filling out the Alamo Dome with Bad Bunny. You know, it's not a bad thing. I love Bad Bunny. But
Dude,
why,
you're on my wavelength when it comes. Like
What?
I was excited that Bad Bunny came to San Antonio.
no. Hey, by all means, don't. I love Bad Bunny, but why can't I love what Grupo Siggno is doing? I mean, they're the closest thing to Tejano norteño. Like, they're the closest thing. Why can't we have one like that? What about Los Dos Carnales? They're completely norteño, closing out stadiums and places like that. Why don't we have that? You know,
But here's my thing, Jess. Like, so you come to San Antonio, right? They fill up the Alamo Dome. And I get it. Like, it's the popular music. It's what everybody's into. I understand all that. The generation. I went to a Maluma concert, and I didn't know shit about Maluma. I went because my wife drugged me there, right? So it was a great production, great show. But I saw the kids to the left and right, Chicanos, singing every word to every single song, and
Yeah.
the place was packed.
Well, you know what? It happened to me too. I went to go see Los Dos Carnales, and I got invited by my friend Super Mario down in the valley.
Uh-huh.
He said, "You want to go with me to go see Los Dos Carnales?" I'm like, "Oh, sure, whatever." Let's go see what all the hype is about. Man, they played at an arena over in the valley, and I sat down with them, and there's two things that a musician could feel: jealousy, or wow, I'm super proud of them. And I was super proud of them. I was like, man, I want to be filling up arenas too. But this, again, you know, the first thing we have to do is support our younger generation. Secondly, we most definitely have to support the older bands that created the way for us, like David Ligarza, Jay Perez, La Tropa F, David Farias, Gary Hobbs, Maz, La Mafia, Intocable, all these bands, we have to support them. If we don't support them, then it's really gonna die. You know, that's you have to support them, because through them comes in the opening acts, which is the younger bands that are trying to make it through.
Right.
Right? These bands are trying to make it through. The next thing we got to do is we got to show the world that we can fill up a place like the Sky Smoke Bar or the Smoke Sky Bar. We got to fill it up. If we can't fill it up, then we're not getting enough support. And I'm not just saying this to sell something. No, I'm saying it. You know what? This is what I just showed you. That's as to me, it's as meaningful as everything that everybody else is doing. And some people have been doing it for less, and they've had more success. And I don't mind it. I don't mind sharing the stage with anybody. I've been doing some amazing things. I've been hanging out. I mean, I shared the stage with Bronco. Bronco's like a monster.
Monster for sure.
And they allow me to sing a song with them at every show that we do with them. You know?
But you did the Houston, for the rodeo, you guys killed it in there. I mean, that place was...
Yeah, but I mean, we killed it there, but I wish we could do Houston and LA like Grupo Siggno did. I wish I could do it in Chicago. I wish I could do it in everywhere we went. You know, I wish we could do it tomorrow in San Antonio. And I'm hoping that everybody will help us be a part of it. You know, that like places like tomorrow, I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to be super realistic with you. The economy's bad right now.
For sure. Agreed.
It affects all the bands and all the musicians. It affects us. It totally affects us. You know that tomorrow they offered us no guarantee. And we said, it's all right.
Well, just slow down real quick. So for the people watching, like, no guarantee means, like, you know, usually bands...
I'm going to tell you what it means. It means there's no guarantee of what can possibly happen. That's what no guarantee means. We can't guarantee...
Hey, that's a good way of saying it, I guess.
The guarantee does that. There's no guarantee of what can happen. And in the first 2 weeks, we sold like half of the whole thing. Like, we're not...
Somebody just said they had to add more tables already, more VIP tables.
Are they gone?
There's one row left of 5.
There's one row of...
That's bumpers. It's a row of 5.
There's one row of tables left. I mean, come on. I'm keeping it real with you guys. They just they just came and filled up the Alamo Dome. We can fill up the Smoke Sky Bar tomorrow. I know.
No, for sure.
Saturday we can fill up the Life Down concert that they're having over there in Laredo. We're gonna be over there. Can you pass me that flyer real quick? Or
I have a question that everybody keeps asking. There's two actually.
I already know which one it is.
One, how do you feel about other bands playing your music?
Man, I feel it's like that. It's an honor for me. Are you kidding me? It's an honor for me. It's an honor for any band to play our music. I don't have any. I want more bands to play our music.
But what if somebody? So let me get Jesse's answer. Not Jesse, the lead vocalist for Siggno, but Jesse. If you hear somebody singing a Siggno song and you're like, "Hey, Charlie, that's not too good."
I would never do such a thing because I was never a singer. And I had a lot of people that would tell me that I sounded like shit. And I didn't like that feeling. So from that lesson, I learned to always tell everybody the truth in a good way.
Right.
Like, for example, if somebody can't sing that great, hey, you know what? I think you have a great future. You just have to keep, you got to try these I'll give them some exercises, vocal exercises. I think that will help you. You're singing with your nose. I try to be a good person and tell them, hey, you need to sing from your stomach. I don't know if you knew, but for a long time I was singing through my nose. And it wasn't until a vocal coach said, no, you need to start singing from your diaphragm.
Your diaphragm,
and out came, la, you know. But other than that, if I hear somebody else singing my, it'll be an honor for me. If somebody were to record our music, I would say, man, that's freaking great. That'll be a delight in itself. What's the other question?
For sure.
And the other one is, what is your favorite color?
White. I know it's super.
Tell them why.
Because
Out of right field. Tell them why.
yeah.
It's a coincidence.
White, because without white you can't have any other color, right? You can't. You need white in order for you to have any other color. You need to have white to write on, and white overpowers black. White represents good, and yeah, black is cool. But black is also darkness, and black is. I love wearing black. I wear black all the time. But what's my favorite color? White. White is heavenly. White is without white, you cannot write any other color on it. I know it's weird. Just
Yeah.
You want this?
That's crazy.
yeah. Let me see it.
And then if you drink beer, what is your favorite beer?
Man, I don't like beer. I don't drink beer.
You don't drink, Jesse. You really don't. You're not a really. I've never seen you like in a party sense. Like, well, I see the look already, right?
I'll tear right now, but hold on.
I've heard stories, but I've never seen you. You're not one of those guys. Like, I poured my ice because I was gonna pour me some whiskey, and I never got around to doing it. Mm-hmm. But you're not one of those guys like that's out there with hey, let's do some shots. You know what I mean? I've never seen you be that type of type of guy.
Man, I can't. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say that I haven't done it, you know. But I try not to, out of respect for my mom. I love her that much, you know. She told me, if you're gonna go out in the world, I just don't want you to fall into drinking, drugs, and stuff like that. And I said, all right.
No, I mean
that sounds fair. So, hey, on Saturday, I want to invite everybody that's watching from Laredo. We're going to be at the live folk concert. It's going to be Siggno. This is what I mean by it. Like, this is a major concert. We're going to be here. We're going to be in San Antonio tomorrow. That's going to be super amazing either way. By the way, when I was talking about we got to support the other bands, I mean, look at who we're bringing. We're bringing the South Texas Homies. Have you heard of them? I mean, have you
no, they're good. They're good.
They're an amazing conjunto band.
Hell yeah.
So tomorrow you're gonna have a chance to either dance or watch a show, and either way, you're nadie va a quedar mal mañana. So tomorrow and on Saturday we have a major concert over in Laredo, Texas. Listen to this lineup. It's a live folk concert. It's at the Webb County Fairgrounds, Laredo, Texas. It's gonna be Grupo Siggno. I don't know who that band is, but after... Wait, let me start from the bottom, because usually you start from the bottom. So it's Costumbre, Fiebre Loca. If you haven't heard Fiebre Loca, they're awesome. Eric y su grupo Mazore. I haven't seen him in a while. Mi comparito. Los Palominos.
That dude's 100 miles an hour all the time.
Yeah.
Man.
Cumbia. Yeah. Eric y Masore, Los Palominos are going to be there. Grupo Sólido's going to be there. And then Siggno.
Damn, that's Saturday.
That's Saturday.
Damn it.
That's badass, man. That's badass.
Okay, one other question.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask me as many as you want.
Would Jesse and Siggno consider taking up an upcoming artist on the road with them as an opening act for one of your shows?
Man, not at the time right now because of inflation. Am I saying it right? Inflation?
Yeah, no, inflation, yeah.
I'm going to
for
be
sure.
honest with you. I mean, I can either sugarcoat it. Right now, we're like fighting for ourselves. That's the truth. I think every band out there is like fighting for themselves.
It's rough right now. That's for sure.
The diesel goes up and we all pay for it. I keep it as real as I can be. I mean, the diesel goes up, and if you don't know what inflation is, can you let everybody know what inflation is? I know what inflation is.
What, inflation? Well,
The price of everything
goes up. And the money ain't being made with.
So
you're not making the right amount of money for all the stuff that's going up.
Yeah, so
it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, the middle class is the one that takes it a little bit harder. The poor people, man, they take it even the hardest. Middle class say, well, I don't know, should I buy a box of cereal for $8 or should I save up to go see Siggno? So it's
Go
hard
see
right now.
Siggno.
Yeah, but we brought other bands, right, Jess?
We pick a new band
I remember
every year
we
to try to help as much as we can.
yeah, as much as we
I
can.
got you.
Like we brought up Grupo Visión one time. We
We had this one.
we had the Grupo Desigual from Monterrey. We also had the ones from Houston. Ones from Houston. He would sing.
Hey.
Really, Jess?
Yeah.
You want me to go there?
No, because I don't know what you.
Inicio.
Inicio. Oh.
Inicio. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, man.
That was a question right there.
I'm ready to answer questions.
When's the next Little Joey La Familia and Signal shows?
Man, you missed it. It was
That
last-
was it's Carlos Salazar, the trumpet player for Little
Oh,
Joe.
man.
He's being facetious.
Oh man, you missed it, brother. We had a show with them last year. Saludos para Little Joy La Familia. You want to hear a funny story about Little Joy La Familia?
I do.
Here it comes. Nobody's heard the story. He's gonna laugh too. You ready? You remember the Little Joe story, Jess?
I'll tell you my Little Joe story after your Little Joe story.
You tell me yours because mine's funnier.
All right, so I started this, with a beer bottle and a phone. Many people don't know how I started the show, and never did I imagine having some drinks with my daughters, that I'd have Jesse Turner here doing an interview. Like, that's how far we've come. Well, one day I was doing a show and I didn't think, there was like 20, 25 people watching or something. During COVID, and I was like, nah, nobody's watching, right? Yeah. And I do one called Frito Pie Friday. And on Frito Pie Friday, I play new music, new artists, and most of the people that watch are artists, and they give their input on the music. Mm-hmm. Well, somebody asked, like, Bump, we never ask you questions, so somebody asked, like, who would be your right now where you're at? What would be your ultimate interview for you? And I said, man, if I could just talk to Little Joe, like I've talked to him, just like I've talked to you before, like, hey, can I get an autograph? Whatever, simple talk. But an actual sit down conversation, it would be Little Joe. So about 10 or 15 minutes go by, man, and my phone goes off. And it's Little Joe, and they're watching the show on the way to Colorado. They're watching in his RV that he travels around in, right? So here I am, and I'm already about maybe 4 whiskeys in. Plus I start crying, dude. I'm like, dude, I can't believe, like, Little Joe just called in, because he's like, here I am thinking nobody's watching this.
You didn't even cry with my story, and you cried with Little Joe.
Well, hold on. So
man.
he shows up here, right? He shows up here. He's like, I tell him, I said, man, one day I'll have him here. That'd be cool. And he said, you know what, Carnalito, I'm going to show up there one day. Don't worry about it. We'll set it up. And sure enough, he held his word and he came. And man, he was chill, relaxed, asina. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows Little Joe. He likes the Herbalife stuff in the world, right?
Yeah, like a good friend of mine, Jessica.
A lot of my friends say, like, hey, it would just be so cool that you could smoke a J with Little Joe. I said, well, man, I don't do that, so I can't. I'm not gonna be able to do that. So I had a bottle of tequila, and I know that he likes tequila. So I said, you know what, Joe, I won't be able to smoke with you, but we could drink some tequila. Pues we start drinking tequila, dude, and ended up being a great show, man. So it's one of my highlights of doing Bumpers Wacky Wednesday, and little Joe showed up here, man. So
You want to know why I was laughing?
why?
Because I'm laughing at my story. I'm already laughing at my own story. I'm listening to you, but I'm like, that's a great story.
You're
But
that guy.
mine's funny.
You're that guy.
Like my mind's listening to you, but my I know that people are gonna crack up. I hope Little Joe's not watching.
Maybe,
And I hope he
hopefully he
doesn't call
is. Let's hear it.
So this was last year. We're doing the Siggno Bash, the Big House Bash, right? The Siggno team roping there in Kingsville, Texas, which we have every year, which we will be at this year. Who are we having this year?
Joe Lopez.
Joe
And
Lopez.
Las Phoenix.
Oh, Las
They
Phoenix.
just announced yesterday.
Wow, we just made that announcement yesterday, and I'm just learning it right now. So, but last year we had Little Joe. Little Joe was performing right before us, and had a friend of mine call me. His name is Felix from Grupo Intocable. He goes, "Hey man, how you doing, brother?" And he's a real sweet person. Salud para Felix Salinas. And he goes, "Hey man, just man, I don't know how to." I go, "What's up, man?" He goes, "No man, I'm just a really big fan of Little Joe." And he's like, I go, "What's wrong with you, Felix?" He goes, "No man, I'm just trying to see you." He's got a real soft voice.
Real
He
soft.
goes, "I just want to know if maybe you, man, I just want to say I could play a song with Little Joe." And I'm like, "Really, bro? You need me? You need me to
facilitate that.
to facilitate? Yeah, you need for me help you get and play a song with Little Joe? Are you serious? You're asking me?" I go, "You're Intocable, bro. Please." I go, "You play with Intocable." I go, "You got a bigger credit than I do."
Yeah.
He goes, "No, I mean, it's your all's bash or whatever." And I'm like, "Bueno, pues vente." So then I go, "Once we get there, because I've seen Little Joe and I know the musicians, right?" I said, "Well, once we're there, pues I'll figure it out." So I made an effort to get there early. So I get there early, and they had just finished sound check, and I missed their sound check. So he's in an RV, and I guess somebody drives him with the like it's got like a Vietnam or not a Vietnam, like a what do they call the hat that I know that he was in the service.
Oh, a veteran's hat.
He's got a veteran's hat, right? He's wearing a veteran's hat, and I go over to his RV and I knock, and the man opens up and he goes, "Yes," and I go, "Is Little Joe? Is he here?" I go, "Can you tell him that Jesse Turner's looking for him?" Because I know Little Joe. I run into him. I've said hello. We've had a lot of conversations. Pero no creo que se acuerda de Little Joe. so I'm at the door, and I'm looking at him, and he's in an RV, and he's at top, and I'm on the bottom. And he goes, "Okay," and he goes, and I said it with like confidence that I knew.
You know him, like you're not there. Just say, can I meet him?
So then I go, "Can you tell Little Joe that Jesse Turner's looking for him?" It was, and I guess he was there.
Right there, yeah. Probably drinking his coffee on his lip.
And then the guy looks at him. He goes, "Jesse Turner." He looks to the room. He goes, "Jesse Turner is looking for you." He goes, "Tell him I'm asleep." Man,
Wait, loud enough for you to hear it?
Yes, I heard it. Tell him I'm asleep. And then he looks at me and he goes, "He's asleep." And I said, "Well, I've done that number on a few people, you know." I just laughed about it. I cracked up, man. I was cracking up, and I went and I told Felix. I go, "Hey, but you won't guess what happened, bro." Number, we were all laughing. I told all the familia Villarreal, and we were all cracking up. And what can I tell you, man? Pues it's all good.
But did he talk to you?
Yeah, right before he got on stage. I go, "Hey,"
I was thinking you said he did that on purpose, and he said, "Come on in."
No, I just think he forgot, man, or maybe he was tired, and I completely understand. I have nothing but respect for Little Joe, and when we were waiting for them to get on stage, I said, "Hey, ¿cómo estás, carnal?" Le dije, "¿Cómo has estado?" Le digo, and then I guess somebody told him because I put it on Facebook.
That Felix wanted to play?
No, I put it on Facebook.
Oh, that what he had done to you.
Yeah, but not in a bad way. Because I was laughing. I was laughing about it. I put it on, no, I didn't write about it. I said it. I go, "Man, I just went to go see hi to Little Joe, and this happened." And I was laughing. I found it hilarious. I didn't even take it in any way wrong. I knew that when I would see him, he would remember me. I had just seen him prior to that, a month before that. at the airport in Austin, and he was extremely tired. They had delayed his flight for like 12 hours or something like that, and he said, "Mira, bien fastidiado." But I have nothing respect for him because, man, as I stood there, I go, "This is my friend Felix from Tejano. Hey, how's it going?" And he's just such a cool cat. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah.
He goes, "Hey, man." He goes, "Sorry about that back there." And I know that. I go, "Don't even worry about it, man." I go, "Don't worry about it. I was just trying to reach you because my friend from Intocable, Felix, he wanted to jam a song with you." He goes, "Well, all right, what song you want to jam, Felix? What song you want to jam, right?"
Right there on the spot.
He goes, "Oh, no, whatever song you say." And then they started playing, and man, for all of you that are watching, if you have not seen Little Joe live, he's an amazing
Oh, yeah.
performer. He's an amazing artist. I mean, cada persona te va a dar algo diferente. Each artist is going to give you something different. For some artists, they're going to offer you their amazing voice. Others, they're going to offer you their amazing charisma, like Little Joe. Others are going to offer you great stories. Others are going to offer you energy. Others are going to offer you the great songs and the hit songs. But Little Joe, that guy he has everything, man. God gave him everything. I like when he turns around and,
Oh, just to share stories, of Little Joe. I'll share this.
oh wait,
this
I gotta finish. I gotta
finish.
finish my story. So then I was standing there with Felix, and I go, "Well, there you go, brother." I go, "There you go. You're gonna get to jam with Little Joe." He goes, "Oh man," he goes, "You're making my dream come true." That was his dream come true. I'm like looking at him like, "Man, you've been all over the world, bro, and this is your dream to like."
Yeah.
Then he goes, "You don't understand." He starts telling me while he's singing, and we're looking at him, admiring him. Yeah, man. No, my dad, he
loved Little Joe.
He had the ¿cómo se llaman?
45s.
Is that what they're called? Like,
The records.
yeah, he had the records. He was telling me they had the records. He said, "Oh, really?" Man, yeah, man, no. He goes, and then he said, I don't even remember what song he said. He goes, "I don't know the name of the song. I know you're gonna probably know it, but what song is that?" Somebody in the chat will tell you. Anyways, Felix, the first thing he came out, he said, "I practiced all the songs from all the records, and I just hope he doesn't invite me to play this song." Sure enough,
Don't tell me it was.
he invited him to play that. It was a potpourri of that song, and let me tell you that Felix knocked it out of the park. Man, he was like sweating bullets. I think I have the video on my phone, and I'm like, "Hey, man," I go, "There you go, brother." I go, "Your dream come true, man." I go,
That's awesome,
Look
dude.
at you, man. And I got to experience it. So I've had a lot of beautiful experiences. Like I give everybody, and I tell everybody, when I tell you that do I not tell everybody? I tell Gary Hobbs, I tell him, like, Gary, I go, "Thank you so much for being a part of my life." I go, "You are," I say it because I mean it.
Right.
You know, they are all, every band that I went to go see, they created Siggno. Little do they know that. Los Palominos, La Mafia, little do they know that they created us. They had this kid dreaming. And I've shared the stage with most of them. And I just want to let you know that whenever we accomplish something, you guys are accomplishing something. We're doing it together. It's not just Siggno. It's all of you guys that have helped us get to where we're at. This is not about just Siggno. No, this is about us not letting that flag fall. Como dice Little Joe, "No dejen caer like bandera carnalitos." We're trying to. Are we Tejano? We can be if you allow us to be. When we came into the scene, the Tejano music was saying, "No, they're not Tejano. They're not Tejano. There's something else. There's something else." But little did they know that we were a branch of Tejano. Tejano needs to spread, and they need to open their wings, and they need to grow different types of fruits that are not always the same flavor. And we're just one of them. We're Tejano, we're Norteño, we're rockish, we're whatever you want to call it. But every band that's out there, man, you guys made us who we are today. And for you guys, we are grateful. I am in debt to each and every single one of you. And if I don't get to tell you personally, I'm telling you now through this video that each and every single one of you're a big part of this Siggno journey, and I always have stories. I always.
No,
have
that's cool. I mean, and the thing is, Jesse, is like, you know, you do interviews all the time, man. You know, and I will tell you that as a fan of music, right? Because at the end of the day, what I'm doing here is I'm just lucky enough to be a fan that gets to, you know, interview artists that I love listening to.
But you're not a fan, my friend. You're my friend. It's just that we've never had the chance to really talk. We're all friends. Don't call yourself a fan. We're friends. We just haven't had a chance to talk, and we just never had a chance to talk.
That's a good way to see it. I mean,
Just like-
you've done videos like one of my best friends growing up is Muñeco.
Muñeco.
Yeah, you from Houston.
Hey, papito, how are you doing?
That guy.
I love him.
So,
How are you, papito?
You know, every birthday or he's around you, he always made it a point like, hey, Jess, make this video for my homie and his wife. And he would send me a video and be like, hey, Bumper, happy birthday, whatever the case may be. But you're right about the friends, man. What I've come to know doing this is that it's a small world, dude.
Still to this day we talk.
Yo, can you talk?
Hey, what's up, Carlito? I'm doing okay, man.
Well, yo también. Don't play me, play him.
Good morning, Mr. Tell me when you have a chance.
Wait, hold on. Let me look for other ones.
Yo, can you talk?
I better not play the other ones because.
Hey, so Jess.
Muñeco, be quiet.
Hey, you did yours.
What's that?
Wacky Wednesday. It's Wacky Wednesday con El Bumper. Unfiltered, the real deal.
That's Muñeco. That's hilarious.
Oh, so when I first started the show, he was one of my best friends growing
Yeah,
up.
you and Bumper.
When he first started the show,
I mean, you and when he always to this day speaks to you. Yeah, Papito, have you run into Bumper yet? No, I haven't. I saw him in San Antonio, but it had been years that I had seen you, man. Prior to that, am I right?
yeah.
I hadn't seen you in a good while.
And
you know what's crazy is that for the longest time, whenever people would say Bumper, 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 I was always thinking that it was Eloy Leja.
Well, because Eloy used to use the name Bumper when he was the vet. So when I met him, he's a good friend of mine. When I met him, he always says I'm the original. So one day I pulled out my high school diploma, and my high school diploma says Jose Bumper Gomez. Ooh. Right, and I said I've had this since I was 3 days old. It's been so I got him beat. So he can say whatever. But no, man, it's really awesome. Again, Jess, that you're here and that people get to just understand and see you like on a different.
Yeah, man. You know what? Talking is therapy for me. So I like talking. Sometimes I don't, but then it's like when I have someone that has good questions and a good conversation. I like that. I enjoy that. I enjoy it very, very much, as a matter of fact.
I
just want to say thank you.
Being here with you, and knowing where I've been in my life.
Where have you been?
Well, it's really not like the cool places. Like we go to ugly places. Like the Marine Corps. All the services. The Navy, the Air Force, they go to Spain.
So
and
what was your job title?
Radio operator.
That's what my son is.
Yeah, same. We're the same job.
But my son knows how to fly a drone. Do you know how to fly a drone?
I did fly a drone before there were drones. All it was a camera. You put on these glasses and you could see what the drone would.
Yeah, my son flies a $150,000 drone. He tells
and you wouldn't trust him with
my truck? No, hell no. He goes, man, Dad, I got the license to drive I can't even, I always forget how to say it. How do you, the
Humvees.
He has a license to drive a Humvee, but I said, but you're not going to drive my truck.
What do you drive?
I'm not going to tell people because
you know what's up. You don't ask that.
It's a big truck, a really, really big truck. You know what? For the longest time, I didn't want a truck. I didn't because I just felt weird. And then I realized that when you get on a truck, you feel chingon.
Until you get off.
Until I get on and I feel on top of the world. Porque yo estoy chaparrito. I literally have to like go like this and like I feel like Kevin Hart. Like that, man. I have to get on there and then get on there like this and then get on the wheel. My mom has an even harder time. You know what? I like to also say, even though she's not watching, but just so you know, felicidades para mi abuelita que acaba de cumplir 104 años. To my grandma that just turned 104 years old.
Wow.
God, we love you. And God, thank you for allowing me to have my grandma and for allowing you to give life to my mom. Oh, God, my if you go look on my Instagram right now, you can see. I went to go see my grandma. You're going to see two things. One is me drinking. Wait a minute.
The guy that doesn't drink.
Yeah,
The guy that doesn't drink.
I'm going to tell you the story. So there's two videos right now. I think there might be three. Let me check. I haven't checked lately. Let me go look.
Okay, while you're doing that,
Go ahead.
someone asked barbacoa or lengua?
Barbacoa or what?
Or lengua.
Man, isn't it the same thing?
No. Well, it depends. I mean,
No, I like barbacoa.
Barbacoa.
La lengua está rica, pero está is the texture of it is just. But I like it. Don't take me wrong.
I always know when I eat lengua, I always tell people, I know what the last thing this cow ate. Grass.
Yep. ¿Te gusta la lengua? What? I'm just asking.
So Jeffrey Dahmer is this new Netflix series, right?
Oh my
Somebody
God.
put earlier, if you eat tripas, barbacoa, lengua, then you can't be bashing Jeffrey Dahmer.
No, but I was asking you si te gusta la lengua o barbacoa.
No, I like barbacoa.
Of course you can say that.
Menudo or pozole?
I don't like pozole. I don't like pozole. I like menudo. Yeah. So I was gonna tell you about so I went to go visit my grandma, right? Look at her, here she is. So anyways, the first time we went, it had been COVID and we had disappeared for a while. We weren't able to travel into Mexico. I finally took my mom last year. And when we get there, my mom walks in and my mom says, "Hola, ¿cómo está?" You know, to my grandma. She's 103. "Hola, ¿cómo está, madre? ¿Quién eres?" Like my grandma could not recognize my mom. And then she goes, es mi hija. You know, she starts saying it's my daughter. And it was just so heartfelt. And this time we went again, and well, two things happened. I'm gonna let you hear the audio, but go look at it on my Instagram. This is us arriving and wait.
Buffering.
No sé por qué estoy batallando. I could just play the video, but it's on my Instagram. Hold on, give me a second. Let me play it here.
You know, it's awesome, dude, that your grandma is that old and you have the luxury of being able to pick up and take your mom back home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And be able to be
man.
there relaxed.
You have no idea what I went through. But if you have time, I'll tell you. Here's
Yeah, we got time.
Wait.
¿Qué pasó, abuelita? Mi abuelita.
At 104, she recognized us like if it was yesterday.
Just does she know the magnitude of her grandson?
No. She has no idea what I do.
Really?
Yeah, my grandma has no... First of all, she's partially blind. She can't see as good, even with glasses, she can't see as good as she used to. And she'll remember but then she forgets. Like, I had a conversation with her, and I had to keep reminding her. I had to keep reminding her of who I was. So let me
It's
see.
great that you have all those videos, though, man.
See, my grandma once sat me on an hormiguero. Not because she wanted to. No, hormiguero means she sat me where the ants were going in their little hole, and she did it by accident. But here she is. She's talking about him, and she's describing me to me, because she remembers the little boy, but she doesn't realize that the little boy is me.
Poquito, pero sí, sí me da un airecito que sí. Sí,
¿Usted sabe?
estaba chiquito.
Sí, ¿usted sabe cuántos años va a cumplir?
¿Tú sabes cuántos años tendrás?
¿Usted cuántos?
No, yo cuento ya. Yo los míos.
No, hold on. I missed it. She's talking about.
Ya está, ni me acuerdo.
Oh, here it is.
¿Feliz?
Feliz, pero sí sabes.
Sí.
Where is it?
Perdón.
Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is.
Sí, abuelita.
Juan,
Yo le decía, abuelita, la voy a poner en un beliz y me la voy a traer, para atrás. ¿Sí se acuerda? Como que se quiere acordar.
Here it
pues
comes.
cuánto parece que me acuerdo que así había un muchachito que
Soy
como
yo.
que él se animaba que nos fuéramos para el otro lado.
Ese soy yo.
Sí, y yo le decía,
He's
no,
not listening to me.
Bueno, y yo le decía, ándele, abuelita, me la traigo en un beliz.
sí, sí, que ni me acuerdo de eso, sí. Muy cuánto me acuerdo que,
Here it comes.
¿Y cómo se siente, abuelita?
como le digo, como que, no sé a quién sentí yo, pues Dios sabe qué tendría yo, no sé. Yo me acuerdo que agarré a un niño y lo agarré en brazos y lo senté y ya me lo sentaba en un hormiguero.
¡Ese soy yo!
A ese
¡Ese soy yo!
le digo,
Mamá,
hoy somos
¿se acuerda de cuando me senté?
And she, I mean, it's a blessing. And I make all these videos. I record my mom and I record my grandma. I record
Those make my day. Not to cut you off, but the ones you make with your, like the ones when you have your mom messing with technology. For me, though, it's funny, but it's like if you're just having one of those days, like, man, you know what, this is awesome. Like it makes you think, like, never in a million years did your mom ever think that there'd be something where she could just pick up, hit a button, and she can call her son and look at him in real time anywhere in the world. You know what I mean?
My mom can't do that yet. All my mom can do
Look at your iPhone.
All my mom can do is say, Alexa, apaga la luz. Or she says, Alexa, buenos días. And Alexa will respond with, buenos días, buenos días. Nomás para recordarte que tu pedacito de pan tostado te ama. You know, I personalized her Alexa so she can know every day that I love her, even when I'm not in town. It's the little things like that that matter. So we went all the way to San Luis, and nadie se dio cuenta. Nobody knew that I was in San Luis Potosí. And nobody knew because I wanted it to be intimate, and I wanted it to be here. In the last couple of times, there's been times where I go and people show up. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but when it's time for me to be with my family, it's time for me to be with my family. And I don't always get to see them.
Yeah.
I get to see them once a year. So I try to value that as much as I can. But I will tell you something. Here's a story. This is my last story for the night. This happened this past weekend. We were flying out, and on the way to the airport, my tire blew out. And when my tire blew out, I'm like, man, this is gonna delay us. Like it blew out. There was something on the road. It just blew it like completely. There was no putting the air. No, it just blew it. And it's a brand new car. Bent my ram, so I didn't have a choice but to get the spare. And I had the most tiniest car jack in the world, and there I was going in, turning, in, turn, in, turn, and I was just sweating, and I was going as fast as I could. My back was hurting. I was trying to go as fast as I can, and finally I put the other tire. My mom was worried, and when we got to the airport, we literally missed the flight.
Oh no!
I called the third party, and they basically took all my money. Don't ever book anything with Cheapo Air. I would never say this, and I would never curse, but fuck those guys. I'm sorry. They had
Somebody tag them, please. We have a problem.
Yeah, they had no empathy, no sympathy, nothing. And I was being super genuine, and I got to the airport, and all they had to do was change my mom's. It's because my mom has her married name, and then she has her Mexican passport. So because I had put her married name, they made a big old thing about it, and I had to call them. They didn't answer. They told me I lost all the flight. So I lost a good amount of money. Wow. So as I was sitting there with my mom, and I'm like, her face just dropped. And I felt, me daba cosita por mi mamá, because I do anything for her. So I tell my mamá, ¿qué quieres hacer, mamá? I go, no hay vuelos. There's no flights out of nowhere. Looking for flights, and the only flights that were available were like for $2,500 each, and it was just a 10-hour, 11-hour. It was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then there was a bus company. I usually don't burn bus companies. Should I not? Okay, I won't burn them. But if it's not a hurricane,
Jessica's behind the lights saying, like, hey, you.
if it's not a hurricane, it can be. That bus sucks. I'm sorry.
Oh my god!
Is it red?
I mean, it was cheap.
How did you do it?
It was cheap, and they promoted like if it's got Wi-Fi. There's no Wi-Fi in there. It was not cool. It felt like if you were in the back of the van of a 15-passenger, and it's 105 outside, and you're sitting in the back of the van. It felt like that. The seats had no for you to recline. It was a pretty rough ride, and it was just. I'm sorry.
And this is Jesse Turner.
Yeah, I told my mom. So I told my mom, ¿te quieres ir en el autobús? Son 14 horas. Mind you, I have real back problems. I cannot do 14 hours on a bus. I cannot. And then she goes, sí. Real proudful. Like, man, we didn't sleep for anything. And yo me quería quejar, right? I was complaining. But then I would look at my mom, and she was with her purse like this. I would look at her, and she would just be with her purse. Like, she was just happy she was going. When we got there, she was tired. But it was priceless to be able to celebrate my grandma's, 104th birthday.
You made it.
Not only did I do that, I got to do very many things. I got to speak to my grandma. I got to see my friends over there. But, on top of that, I also got to, I'm looking for it. Ya me estoy siendo ciego. I also got to do this.
Que Dios me la bendiga de parte de toda nuestra familia. Le damos gracias a Dios en este día por su cumpleaños, por regalarnos estos 104 años de su vida, de su salud. Ojalá que podamos juntarnos el próximo año para seguir celebrando su vida. De parte de todos sus hijos, de parte de todos sus nietos, de parte de todas sus hijas, de parte de toda su familia. Muchas gracias. Que Dios me la siga bendiciendo con buena salud. Este es un canto que, no digo canto, pero es una canción que le escribía a mi madre. Pero de mi madre viene usted le dio vida a mi madre. a mi tía y a todos mis tíos. Y ustedes son de esta familia. Que Dios me la bendiga hoy y siempre.
I got to sing for my grandma. And you know what? My grandma doesn't know fame, just like my mom doesn't care about it. And I think that's what keeps me grounded, and I'd rather stay like that.
That's
a lot
cool,
of people,
man.
a lot of people that look for levels and reach that fame, when they have that fall, it's a terrible fall because it's never ending. There was a point where I just wanted to keep going higher and higher and higher. And nowadays, the other day we played in San Angelo, and we played for 120 people because the economy's bad right now. I'm not used to playing for 120 people. I haven't been used to it. But when we're in the bus, I'm telling the guys, hey, man, this is awesome. Let's see if we can make these 120 people dance. And it becomes I'm weird. Let's see if we can make these 120 people scream. And sure enough, 120 people like singing with all their hearts. That's all that matters, man.
Whether
At
you
the-
have
at the-
5 people or 1,000 people,
You got to
man, same
remember.
show.
You got to remember in this industry when we started with 0. We started with 5 people, 3 people. Then it jumped to 80, then 100, then 200, and el mundo da vueltas. I know that everything that goes up comes down. So I try not to look at up nor down. I try to just stay right here in my lane and just be grateful for everybody that I meet. We went to go play in San Angelo, Midland, Texas. It's nice. Went all the way to Bakersfield, California. I flew back with no sleep because it meant something to me to be at Paulino's funeral. And in Houston, I had a connecting flight. And when I got on the connecting flight, I walk into the plane, and the first one sitting there is Mando from La Mafia. He's sitting down. I go, hey, Mando. I go, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm going to the funeral. I go, oh, me too. I go, it's just you alone? He goes, no, Oscar's over there. And Oscar's on the opposite side. Oscar's like this.
Knocked out.
I go, you tell Oscar that he's showing his age right now, that he needs to get up. Tell him that the plane hasn't even left. The plane hasn't even left. Ya está todo dormido, Oscar. And then I was going to get an Uber to my house, and instead Oscar de la Mafia and Mondo Lichtenberger took me to my house, and they sat down with me in my house in the living room, and we talked.
You did the jam. I saw you.
Yeah, we played Un Día a la Vez.
Yeah.
That's when they were leaving. But we went to the funeral service together. I saw Javier Galoan. I'm glad that he's doing okay. We're always praying for him. We never know anybody's struggle. We're quick to criticize and quick to. But again, I'm grateful for all the moments that I have with every single person that I meet, whether if they're artists or not, even for this moment. I know who you are. I forget, like at the shows, I forget. My mind was, that day when I saw you, I was sick. I felt sick. I didn't feel good. I felt like I was coming down with something. Right? As a matter of,
I had COVID.
yeah, a lot of, I think a lot of people got COVID. I didn't have it, but I felt like a vibe of not wanting to be around anybody, and I'm like, I don't want to get this, and I had it, like my stomach was going in circles. But other than that, man, I'm just happy, grateful. Maybe every once or twice a year I get sad. I get super sad because I question, do I have a purpose in life? And then I come across people like you. I come across people that need to hear our music, and it means something to me. You know that when I leave this earth, I feel that that's when we're going to become even more popular. I tell my friends, don't wait until we're gone to celebrate us. Celebrate us now. Go to our shows. Come listen to these songs. Come listen to what's made Siggno who we are today. Again, currently we're on this Bronco tour. This weekend just got canceled over there. And the following weekend got canceled in Florida. we're praying for all of you over there in Florida. I know most of you were excited because Siggno and Bronco is going to be a one-time thing in Florida. I'm believing that they're going to reschedule. So no se desanimen. We know a hurricane just passed through there. We're praying for each and every single one of you, and we will be soon. We will be back with you soon. So before I head out, because it's kind of late. I'm gonna show you a couple more songs, just pieces of it, so you can know how much these songs mean to me. So there was a time where me and that girl that I told you that I was with her for a very long time, but we were just together just because, the love kind of died. And she went her way and I went mine. And I couldn't understand why she left me for someone else. I couldn't understand. And the majority of the girls I've been with have left me. Why? I don't know. They get tired of my lifestyle.
Can't be easy.
It's not. I don't. And you know what? I don't blame any of them. But in each one of those people that were in my life, they left me a lot of good memories. But even better, they left me with good songs. So this is for you. Hold on. Just for you, if you're watching. Has de pensar que no me dolió el día que te fuiste con él. Has de pensar que me recuperé porque sales con él en donde te puedo ver. Puedes creer que me encuentro feliz, pero mi mundo tú lo pintaste gris. Por eso te odio, no te amo y te tengo que decir, estúpido, porque yo te quería, porque te daba todo, mi corazón entero. Estúpido, porque tú me engañaste, porque te burlaste, porque me dejaste. Estúpido, por creer en tus mentiras, por creer en las estrellas. Esta noche yo estoy solo, cantándole a mi Facebook. There was a time in my life where I thought the world was going to end. Remember that in 2012? Mm-hmm. I didn't think 1999 was going to go down. In 2000, I didn't think that whole Y2K thing was, I didn't think that was going to happen. But when the Mayas were saying that their calendar was coming to an end, I thought to myself, el mundo se acabó. I thought to myself, the world doesn't end when the Mayas say, or whoever it was.
The Maya.
The Mayas. It's not going to end when they... Sometimes the world feels like it's coming to an end when somebody breaks your heart. El mundo se acabó el día que tú dijiste adiós. Yo no pude salvar mi corazón. El mundo se acabó came from that. Man, there's so many songs. When I sit here and I stop and I think about all that listen to this one. No importa lo que diga, tus padres no me van a querer. Listen, this is about being a musician and their parents not liking me. No importa lo que diga, tus padres no me van a querer. Te dicen que no te conviene mi forma de ser, que tengo más de 1000 amores y a todas yo les mando flores, que en cada puerto hay un amor que te voy a causar dolor. Te amo, te necesito, con tu amor todo es perfecto. So many songs. It's so incredible for me to sit here and just think about my life. It's been an amazing journey. I'm still living it. Recently, I was told, you think too much.
Oh, God.
You think too much. Stop living in the future, because I'm always thinking of the future. So I'm trying to learn to live for today. You hear that dog back there? I wrote a song called Pensaste que no me iba a levantar después del golpe que me diste. Yo era ese perro en el callejón, sin maestro, sin dueño, sin amor. Are you listening to what it says? Listen to what it says. Pensaste que no me iba a levantar. Pensaste que no me iba a levantar después del golpe que me diste. Yo era ese perro en el callejón, sin maestro, sin dueño, sin amor. I was that dog you left. Y lo dice. Tú me levantaste. One day you picked me up. Y luego me dejaste. And then you just dropped me off because you didn't like the dog you bought. Me abandonaste cuando más te necesitaba. Sometimes there's dogs that just really need to be loved, but instead, because they're annoying, they don't know any better, they pee all over the place, you throw them out. ¿Verdad? Me abandonaste cuando más yo te quería, luego te fuiste de mi vida, nunca supe por qué fuiste tan cruel con mi pobre corazón. And then listen to this part. Te quiero decir que no pienso más en ti, que en otro lugar me han hecho muy feliz. Gracias por dejarme ir. Soy un perro. Soy un perro muy feliz.
Oh man, my favorite song was Está what is it?
Está lloviendo.
Yeah, Está lloviendo.
I already sang it. Está lloviendo. It's the first song I sang.
That right there was just like at that time in life, my life was changing a lot. And again, man, I just followed your whole path, dude. And you know, I know you've been here for a time, and I want to thank you, dude, for stopping by, man. Yeah. Because you know, I've been working with Jessica probably I don't know, like 7 or 8 months. We've been trying to, you know, just the dates never worked out.
She told me it was for 2 years.
What's that?
She told me it was for 2 years.
You know, like, too,
Yeah.
I knew who he was since he started during the pandemic.
Yes,
and I want to congratulate you because it's very hard to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
No, and I mean this, and I look, there's a lot of things that people don't know. Again, I want to give you a prime example. On our social media, people constantly want me to do shout outs, and they want me to do videos for them, and some people want to do interviews, and I don't just sit at home and do nothing. I have my family who I care for, you know. I have my personal life that belongs to me and me only, you know. And then I have Siggno to work with.
Yeah.
So I always say, man, I can't believe that I waited all my life to have this interview with you. It's God sent. You know, if we would have done it 6 months ago, maybe it would have been different. Maybe I wouldn't have been able to talk to you about my grandma. Maybe I wouldn't have been able to talk to you about a lot of things that I spoke about tonight. Paulino Bernal.
Right.
But everything lined up perfectly for tonight. I just want to thank you for having me. And to the people that are connected, thank you for listening. And keep supporting. Subscribe, follow, and follow us as well. Any more questions before I leave?
One irrelevant, immature question. Jordan Rodriguez wants to know when you're going to start your OnlyFans bumper.
When are you gonna what?
Start your OnlyFans. And what's the name of it?
Wait a minute.
When am I gonna start my own band?
Yeah.
Who wants to know?
Jordan Rodriguez.
So he's being silly because you probably don't know this, but Grupo Asalto was a group that I saw on a group that was far west. I played their song on Frito Pie Friday. Never really had been to San Antonio area or whatever, and I got them spinning over here. I got like people to listen, like, hey, check these guys out. They're pretty good. And so that led to a relationship, which led to now that I help manage them.
Oh, really?
Right. So which is separate from, Bumpers Wacky Wednesday. So he's being silly.
He's being silly.
He's being silly. You know?
I know Jordan very well.
Yeah. He's like, tell Jesse, I've been, since I was a chunky little kid, I used to get on stage
you don't need to know. I know exactly who Jordan is, and I remember he still has that drive. He wanted to get on stage, and I gave him that opportunity a long time ago, and he's an amazing accordion player. What can I tell you? And I see that he has his own group now, and felicidades para él. Congratulations. I tell everybody, ahora sí, cuídate, cabrón.
Yeah.
Now you know. Now you know how hard it is to be out here in this world. It's that cabrón. It's not easy. Any other question before?
And then it's our cousin Juliet's birthday, and they want to know if you're able to sing happy birthday to her.
Absolutely not.
Whose birthday?
Juliet.
Juliet's birthday. Oh, it is Juliet's birthday.
Can we sing happy birthday? Absolutely not. I just got through saying that I don't do shout outs or videos, and I hate doing them. Nah, I'm playing.
Before you sing happy birthday, I wanted to tell you, like, you sing the song Juliet. It's Julieta, right?
Juliet.
Yeah. The song Mama, anytime my mom it could be at 2:00 in the morning, she's coming back from a game room. If she hears the song Mama, she texts me, mijo, our song's on. Oh, Jesse, I swear to you, bro. It could be 2:00 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 8:00 in the morning. She always. So I know I'm not the only one. I know there's other moms out there that probably do. So that's cool. You know what I mean? That song connects.
I'll tell you something, man. There's a lot of people that don't have their moms, and they connect with it. I'm just very blessed to be able to have been through all my ugly moments. I talked about being at the bottom. Being at the bottom is what helped me write something beautiful. Being at the bottom is what helped me express myself the way I do today.
For sure.
There's a purpose in life. There's a purpose for you. And don't let anyone tell you what you can and can't do. Life is a struggle in itself. And this is the last thing. I know I've been saying this is the last thing, but I will remind you before. Well, let me sing happy birthday first.
She just survived the hurricane.
She did. Oh, in Florida?
In Florida.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Julieta. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. My last piece of advice for you guys is when you were born, the minute you were born into love. Someone loved you. And they might not be here today, but their love exists within you. So never forget that. We live in faith. You have to walk in faith each and every single day. My mom said for me to be a pastor, I can't, but I will tell you that there is a God. And for people that don't want to believe, I always tell them, well, do you believe in love? And the first thing they're going to say is, yes, I do. I said, well, show me what love is. And they'll be like, well, I can't show you, but I can demonstrate it. Exactly. You can demonstrate it through faith that there's a higher being. And that no matter how confused you are, you're loved because you were created. And never ask why things happen in life. Instead say, thank you. And you'll realize that you have a beautiful lesson learned. Learn how to get up, learn how to move forward, and learn how to smile at everything that comes your way. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that you're not gonna cry, because crying is only pain leaving your body.
That's it.
I hope that our music touches your heart. I hope that you enjoyed this interview. If you did, give us a like and follow us on Grupo Siggno. On our Facebook, follow me, is Jesse Turner 11. A lot of fake profiles out there, but mine's verified under Jesse Turner 11. On TikTok, it's going. We're having a little struggle there on the Grupo Siggno one, but we're gonna get it going. But follow us either way. And I want to thank you so much for this opportunity, for this interview. Without it, people wouldn't know certain chapters and certain parts of my life. Thank you for your service. Thank you, each and every single one of you that's out there. If you ever served, in whichever way, thank you very much. It's meaningful, and thank you for putting me in this position that I'm at to be able to express myself the way I do. God bless each and every single one of you. Mi hermano, mi amigo. Muchísimas gracias. Que Dios te bendiga y tu programa. Te felicito. The best of luck to you on your show. And this is just one of many interviews that's coming.
I appreciate it, Jesse. From the bottom of my heart, man.
Thank you, brother. God bless you. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Again, Bumpers Wacky Wednesday, every Wednesday on Facebook Live, YouTube, Bumper Gomez. And make sure you follow my buddy here.
Except today was Turner Thursday.
There it was. There you go. We should have called it a Turner Thursday.
Turner Thursday.
See you guys next Wednesday. And don't forget, tomorrow, Smoke Sky Bar is the place to be right here in San Antonio. It's going to be, they're going to break the record tomorrow. I promise you, they're going to break Smoke's record tomorrow. So make sure you guys check it out.